Alrighty, folks, we are back. We're doing some more Echo, and joining me, of course, is Rowan.
Hello.
So yes, there was meant to be everlasting tonight, but sadly it is not going ahead. So because it's not going ahead, we will be playing some Echo instead. So yes.
Yeah, finish off TJ's route.
So, Rowan, as ever, what is Echo?
Echo is a furry visual novel gay dating sim, but not really. It likes to deconstruct the ideas behind said genre in rather new and horrifying ways, because it is in fact a horror. Trigger warnings for fucking everything, and this route in particular is going to be abuse, character death, gaslighting, psychosis, trespassing, just everything. Baseline story is that our main character, Chase the Otter, currently in the middle of the screen, is heading back to his hometown of Echo for a school project where he's doing it on the history of the town, namely the mass hysteria that happened in like 18 something or other. He's meeting up with some old friends who used to live there. They're all meeting up again, probably for the last time. They've all got trauma at the lake where their friend Sydney died. None of them are okay, and there is a mass hysteria coming, which we already know because we finished 2 different routes.
Yes.
But yeah, that's Echo.
Yeah. So we're doing TJ's route.
Who is the little Lynx fella?
Yep. Who is I think that's TJ, just this bit here, but you can't see him for the menu.
Oh, Jimmy, have you got your toy? Oh, well done. Hi, baby girl. Hello. Good girl. It's so cute.
Right.
For everyone watching, Juniper has a habit of occasionally picking up her favourite toy, meowing very loudly and running up to me with it. Just so proud that she found it.
That's adorable.
It really is.
So yes, we are this one. So the last thing we saw was almost the end of the day. We are going into a dream sequence now.
We believe.
We believe. Do you want to do what happened up to this point?
Yep. Chase and TJ are hanging out a whole lot more after there was a massive argument at the lake, or the river, sorry, where Flynn called everyone out on their bullshit, in particular claiming that TJ knows more about their friend Sydney who died. You're hanging out with TJ, you're doing a lot of yard work for Janice at the moment, who is a coyote. She works at the local diner. She's definitely on meth, and you have seen her pissing in the road in front of you before. And she, at one point, asked you to dig a grave. You are now hanging out with Carl and Jenna because you found a note from Sydney on one of his last treasure hunts, and you're completing the treasure hunt, over 10 years late. Walking around the town and finding things out with the little notes that Sydney has made. Or is it Sydney? We don't know.
All right. Well, we will continue on from there.
If you go in, I'll give you $1. No. $5.
I like Carl's old model.
He's so cute. Look at his little horns. You just want to pat him on the head. No. 10. No. You could buy like 20 candy bars with that money. I'm not going in. All right, quit yelling.
Carl and I swing side by side, synchronizing our legs so that we swing back and forth at the same time. As always, it doesn't work because Carl's so much heavier than I am. The wind feels good in my fur, finally cooling me down after being out in the heat all day. Toby sits on the slide next to us, watching with a bored look on his face.
It's my turn, Chase.
In a minute.
It's been like 15 minutes.
Nuh-uh. Toby sighs and sits back, pouting. Pouting? Pouting. I look back over at the old school and smile. But if you go inside, I'll let you.
No!
Toby's shout seems to echo around us and I giggle. Fine, fine. We swing a little longer, the rhythmic squeaking of the chains being the only sound.
When Sydney coming back with the popsicles? He's taking forever.
Maybe his mom caught him and made him stay home.
Ugh.
Carl leans back in the swing and I feel the entire thing shift around. I wonder if it's going to collapse.
We should go to your house, Chase. It's too hot. I want to swing.
I lower my feet and let them kick through the dirt as I slow myself down, sending a cloud of dust in the air. The talk about Sydney reminds me of something I'd been told about yesterday, and now that he isn't here. Hey guys, my mom told me something about Sid yesterday. Toby's already slid down the slide and walked up next to me, holding one of the chains of the swing as he tries to push me out of the seat. Don't push me, Toby. Do you want to hear it? It's a secret. I move to stand between the two swings as Carl kicks his hooves into the dirt next to us.
Keep swinging. Carl and I want to swing with you. What? What's the secret? Swing, Carl.
Wait a minute, it's really weird. That seems to finally catch Toby's attention as he settles down.
What?
Carl and Toby stare at me for the first time, and I feel a little worried about telling them, but having their full attention like this is kind of cool. You know what happened to Sid's dad a while ago when school started, right?
Yeah.
Carl's completely stopped in the swing now, staring at me. Well, my mom says that the cops think it's really weird what happened.
Sydney's dad died. He's in heaven now.
Toby says it so matter-of-factly that he starts to swing a little again.
Even if you're a Mormon, you can go to heaven. My dad said so.
Yeah, but do you know how he died? I start whispering and look over my shoulder at the dirt road to see if Sid is coming. It's empty for now.
He accidentally got shot when he was hunting with Sid.
That's what the adults told us. That he was accidentally shot. Maybe he was loading his gun. My mum said they aren't sure if that really happened though.
What do you mean?
Toby seems to have taken interest again and stopped swinging, staring at me. Well, maybe Sid did something. Carl frowns.
Like Sydney did it?
I mean, I don't know, but my mum said to be careful around him just in case. Toby's eyes suddenly widen even more as he suddenly understands.
Sydney killed his dad?
Shh! Toby flinches as I grab his muzzle with one paw, squeezing it shut. You have to keep it a secret. Toby just sits there staring at me. Carl does the same. Now I kind of wish I hadn't told them. They don't know though. My mum just said to be careful, that's it. It might have been an accident. I talk kind of fast, like I'm trying to take back what I just said. I let go of Toby and he just sits there and doesn't swing. Carl just stares at the ground and his ears flick up. A few seconds later I hear scuffling footsteps making their way up the dirt road and I turn around to see Sydney jogging towards us. His arms are filled with colourful ice pops wrapped in plastic.
Hey, sorry, I had to go into the basement freezer to find some. They're super wolf pops.
He stumbles up next to us, kicking up another cloud of dust. He stands there for a second, breathing heavily, sweating through his thick fur.
Grab one?
The three of us reach out automatically and take one of our own. Mine is partially melted already, blue liquid pooling at one end of the plastic. Sydney frowns at us.
What were you guys talking about? Nothing.
Carl says it almost before Sydney can finish his sentence. Sydney glares.
Yeah, right. What were you saying about me?
Sydney turns on me and I just shake my head, busying myself with opening the plastic. Then Sydney turns to Toby, his glare turning into a smirk.
Alright, Tobias, you better tell me what they were talking about.
I feel my stomach turn as I open the package and turn it upside down to pour the sweet blue juice into my mouth.
Tell me or I'm gonna wrestle you.
Sydney goes at Toby with his paws up, burying his blunt claws. Toby eyes him for a moment, but once Sydney gets close to the link, twists out the way like only a cat can.
Don't touch me.
Toby hides behind Carl and I as Sydney turns to watch him lowering his paws slowly.
What's wrong?
Toby doesn't say anything, standing behind me quietly. I can feel his ice cold pop pressing against my back. We stand in silence for a while and I can see Sydney trying to figure out what's going on. I try to think of something fast. Hey, let's go to my house and play on the trampoline.
Yeah.
Carl hops out of the swing and starts walking towards the road. I follow him as Toby clings to my side. Sydney doesn't follow and after a moment I turn back to look at him. He's glaring at me. What? He goes on glaring before throwing his ice pop into the dirt and running past us.
You guys suck.
He runs up the road and back towards town, disappearing into the bright sunset. Friday. TJ gets up early in the morning and I fall in and out of sleep as he moves around the room quietly. The shower turns on at some point. I think I hear Jenna's voice. I fall asleep again when I wake up next day. Jenna's in the corner of the room, sitting in a little table and typing away on her laptop. I stare at her groggily until she notices me.
Morning. Still tired? It's almost noon.
I rub my face into my pillow and groan. Guess I was up later than I thought. I forced myself to sit up. Couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah, I've been having trouble too. These beds are terrible.
I look around. Where's Tej?
Hike.
What?
He went on a hike.
I sit there frowning at Jenna. She types a while she finally notices me staring and shakes her head.
I don't know, he wanted to go alone.
He's been asking us to go with him all week.
I know. I think something's bothering him.
Jenna pauses.
Well, I know it's the scavenger hunt. Of course that's what's bothering him.
I sit on the edge of the bed, rubbing my face with my paws. This was a bad idea. Jenna goes on typing.
Maybe, maybe not. He really wanted to do it. I'm going to try and talk with him when he gets back.
I stare at my feet for a moment, deciding on whether or not just to text him now. Jenna, do you think there's something weird about the treasure hunt? Jenna doesn't even look up from her screen.
Of course I do. I think everything about it is weird.
I mean, I don't even know if Sydney put those there. Jenna finally looks up at me.
Why not?
Just everything seems off.
Who do you think put them there then?
I shrug. I don't know. Jenna stares at the computer screen for a while, not typing anymore.
Well, the whole reason we're doing this is because of TJ. This seems to be what he wants to do. And even if it was someone else that left him there, if it's going to help him, then I'm going to help him with it.
Jenna shrugs.
And in the end, all it is a treasure hunt. I'm just hoping that it ends at the house.
Yeah. Jenna goes on typing, apparently done with the conversation, so I finally get up and go to the shower. Breakfast is long gone by the time I go to the lobby, and what's left is a few dried biscuits. So I opt to go to the diner instead, while Jenna opts to stay in the room to finish her paper. I sit in my usual booth in the corner of the diner, half-heartedly flipping through the menu. Janice comes over and takes my order, and my short answers to her pleasantries keep her from being too chatty. Once I'm done ordering, I sit back and look out the window, watching the bright sun bake the hot desert below. I imagine TJ out there on the trail, trudging along the path under the 100+ degree heat. Aside from worrying about what he might be going through right now, I also worry that he might pass out in this kind of weather. I can only hope he had the right mind to take along enough water and make sure to cool off like he did to me. I look down at my phone on the table again, considering whether or not I should call him. Maybe a text at least. Hey man. Then I set my phone back down and wait for a response, wondering if I might drive out to the trail myself if he doesn't. That's when I sense someone move up next to me on the table. I look up expecting to see Janice, but I am met with a sort of young white deer, his clasped paws holding a folded blue apron. I blanked at his name for a few moments and left my mouth hanging open like an idiot. Then I remember. Oh, Julian, what's up? Julian smiles.
Hey there, my shift just ended and I saw you just sitting there.
I wait, but he doesn't go on. Oh, I don't want to say it, but he looks like he's expecting it and I can't really find a way out, so... Wanna sit down?
Yeah, sure.
Julian responds quickly and slides into the booth across from me, setting his folded apron down on the table.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I wonder if I sound a little annoyed. Part of me hopes that I do, he might just get the hint like Janice did. But he goes on sitting there, interlocking his fingers and resting his forearms on the table.
How are you today?
Good, you? Julian shrugs.
I've been better. This job is starting to wear me out, you know?
Yeah, I've had a few like that. While the buck seems nice enough, I don't think I've had more than 5 conversations with the guy in my entire life. He's just a regular face that I saw at the middle and high school, a part of the background. It wasn't until the last few years of high school that I noticed him and TJ hanging out, and TJ was the only reason we briefly interacted. So I'm a bit confused now as to why he's suddenly taking an interest.
Yeah, what sort of job do you have?
Well, I'm between jobs right now. I'm going to school. I'll probably stock shelves over the summer like I did last year.
So that job wore you out?
Well, no, but my fast food job did. The one I had in high school when I was kind of stacking boxes and putting stuff on shelves. Oh, I kind of like stacking boxes and putting stuff on shelves.
See, I think the food service jobs are definitely the worst, though. I can see why stocking might be a little better.
He breaks off as Janice comes back, setting down my chicken sandwich.
Oh, you know Chase, Julian?
A little. I know him through TJ.
Ah, well, if you see that boy again, let him know that I'd like to chat with him soon.
I look up and Janice gives me a wink before bustling off. I decide to definitely not let TJ know.
But anyway, I'm going to school too over at Mercer, and the diner has some serious flexible hours. Only reason why I'm still here.
At least you guys don't seem very busy, even during lunch hour. I nod at the 2 or 3 other occupied tables.
Huh? Yeah, it's a wonder we're still in business. Probably gonna have to close down in a year or two.
The idea of that actually makes me a little sad. I look down at my chicken sandwich, feeling a little bit awkward at the idea of Julian just watching me eat, so I'll leave it on the plate for now. Julian leans back and looks out the window.
So, where's TJ at? I thought you two were hanging out.
I get the feeling that this is the main reason why Julian is talking to me. Yeah, he went off on a hike earlier this morning. I slept in.
Oh, I see. You do that a lot?
I shrug. I don't know. We've only been here about a week and he does love going on hikes though.
I mean, does he do that at CCU?
I stare at Julian for a second before I realise what he's talking about. Oh no, I don't go to CCU. I'm at Pueblo.
Ah, so you guys met me up there? Oh, met up there?
Well, I picked him up and brought him here along with Jenna. She goes to Pueblo too. I grow a little frustrated having to explain everything to this guy. All I want to do is eat and then go back to the motel and wait for TJ.
I see. Well, TJ was my best friend during senior year. After you and Carl left, we hung out all the time. After he left for college, we kind of lost touch.
Yeah, he's not very active on social media. I'd only seen TJ post a few pictures since he started classes. A few were of him on the college soccer team, and one was him standing in a prayer circle along with an inspirational quote. But Julian revealing that he was TJ's best friend towards the end of high school cools my exasperation. I suppose he does have a reason to know what TJ might be up to.
He was kind of depressed right after graduation, so I've been a little worried about him.
Depressed? That surprised me. I've never known TJ to be depressed. Sure, he's been sad before, but not outright depressed as far as I know. Maybe I don't know much about him.
I thought I might have to do with graduation, but it went on all summer.
Oh well, if you want to talk to him, you can definitely let him know. I gesture at my phone on the table. I also make a mental note to myself that I should talk to TJ too about everything. Julian smiles.
That'd be great. Please do. I think he must have changed his number after leaving.
Okay. I hesitate and I pick up the phone to type out a brief message. I met Julian at the diner. I'd like to talk with you. TJ hasn't texted back yet.
How long have you known TJ?
I set my phone back down and settled back into the booth. Since he got here in like 2001, so 14 years ago?
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, it really is.
You guys always always been good friends.
For the most part. I had times when I was kind of a dick to him, but that's always been a good friend to me.
I see, yeah, we all went to the same elementary school. It wasn't until junior high that I met him in Bible study.
Ah, of course.
I always knew about you guys, though, the Echo Kids.
Yep, that was us, the weirdos. Julian glances around before lowering his voice.
It was a mean thing to say, but the town is kind of messed up. Lots of weird things happening here.
I can't argue with that. Julian looks around again, biting his lip. Then he lowers his voice another notch.
Hey, so this is gonna be a bit weird, but I don't want to offend you, but something weird's bothered me for a while.
I eyed Julian warily. Yeah?
DJ told me what happened at Lake Emma a while back, and we were talking about death in heaven.
I feel a little chill go up my spine.
Well, he never actually told me about what exactly happened, but I can tell it really affects him.
Julian pauses. I don't say anything, keeping my eyes fixed on the table.
Now, you don't have to tell me if it makes you uncomfortable, please don't. But I feel like I have a better idea of what happened. I might understand him better.
Julian brings his interlocked fingers up to his chin to rest on.
I'm not gonna ask him to tell me, of course. It was a long time ago, but I know you carry stuff like that around for a long time. So if you're not okay with it, please just let me know and I'll change the subject.
I contemplated for a moment, wondering if the buck is out of line to be asking such a thing. I decide he isn't. He's one of TJ's best friends, so in a way he's sort of connected to it. So I guess he does have a reason to know. Okay, but please don't bring it up with TJ. Like you said, it really affects him.
Never.
Julian looks at me solemnly. I think for a moment, gathering my thoughts. It's been a long time since I thought of the story from the beginning to end. It was around August, I think, 2003. It's a little bit hard to remember. What I remember is we'd all gone down to the lake to swim like we did almost every week. There's this little spot where the beach kind of curves in, it's mostly sand and shallow water. That's where we'd like to hang out and swim. Even though the water was sort of stagnant there, it at least was safe and warm compared to the rest of the lake. I think at some point, one of us wanted to go down to skip rocks. We had to go further up the shore to do that, and TJ was more interested in building sandcastles. So he stayed behind with the rest of us, went up to the beach to find rocks. When you go up that far, you can't really see that spot anymore, so I'm not completely sure what happened. I vaguely remember looking back at TJ as we went up the beach. The Lynx bending over his castle at the back of his wet swim trunks covered in sand from when he'd sat down. Sydney went with us, at least I remember that, but while we were skipping rocks he sort of disappeared. I glanced up at Julian for a moment and see him listening intently before I looked back down at the table. Anyway, we heard some splashing and some shouting from TJ and all ran up to the beach to see Sydney floating out in the lake. I swam out there and got him, too late though. I don't mention the part where TJ was crouched in 3 feet of water, staring at Sydney's body floating 20 feet away from him. I don't tell him TJ's explanation for what happened is always amounted to Sydney stepping out too far into the water. That's maybe the current knocked him off balance and pulled him in. I would even said that it almost looked like an invisible shark grabbed Sid and pulled him out. I know that makes sense at all. None of us are sure what happened. It seems to be enough for Julian though, as he shakes his head.
I'm very, very sorry to hear that, but thank you for telling me. All I knew was a friend of his drowned in the lake. He didn't tell me how close he was to it. It makes sense that it would deeply affect him.
No problem. I realise that Julian is probably the first person that has ever told the story to outside of Echo. I also realise it wasn't hard at all to do. I suppose it's easy to tell someone who wasn't related to the incident, someone who had no connection to the raw horror of that day. That and
Also,
time has passed.
Can we talk about how in the flashback that we saw before this scene, thank you, person with the very loud car, that Chase, Carl and TJ were gossiping about what happened to Sydney's dad, but of course from Flynn's route we know what happened, which is he was going to kill himself. Sydney tried to pull the gun away from him and it went off.
Yeah.
It fucking hurts. All of this fucking hurts. All of these kids are dicks because they're kids. Oh my god. Oh, dearie me. It's so well written. It upsets me.
Maybe I just go over it without knowing.
But yeah, Echo is a crazy place. You know about the mass hysteria thing that happened 100 years ago? The place is kind of famous for that. Almost all the paranormal podcasts I listen to have an episode on it.
My heart skips a beat as I suddenly remember my project. I cover my face with my paws. Shit.
What's wrong? Did I say something?
I uncover my face to see Julian look at me with some concern. No, I just forgot some schoolwork that I need to get done for a project. The excitement around the scavenger hunt completely wiped out the thought from my mind.
Oh, what? What kind of project?
A news report on Echo on the mass hysteria incident. I've barely done anything on it since I first got here.
Hey, that's so cool. Do you need any help?
I blink, the Buck's easiness surprising me. For the first time I see him become embarrassed, skin on the inside of his ears turning a dark red.
Sorry, it's something that always interested me, so I got a little excited,
I glance down at my phone to see that I still haven't got a response from TJ, so I get an idea. Despite my initial annoyance, I like how considerate Julian was about the whole lake incident. I also want to give him a chance to see TJ before the end of our trip. Well, actually, I've been meaning to get some footage of the mine, at least the opening, since it's sealed up. If you want, we can head up there and get some shots and at the same time look for TJ. The trail is in that area. Julian perks up.
Hey, that would be really awesome, thanks. Do you want to eat first?
I look down at my sandwich, then shake my head. I'll just eat on the way to the motel.
Oh, I got my truck. I can drive you over. There's a bunch of room if you need it for your equipment.
Oh, okay, thanks. Just let me get out to go box and we can leave. 20 minutes later, we're heading up the narrow canyon road towards the mine. I haven't been there in years, but the dirt roads lead straight to it, so I don't even have to look up the instructions. Julian chats away while I eat my lukewarm sandwich from the foam to go box. While there's almost robotic quality to the Buck and how articulate he is, he's actually really nice. I can certainly see why TJ would call him a friend. Bumpy
He's
road
just
curves.
autistic. It's an autistic deer.
Bumpy road
talking
curves upwards. You
about it.
finally get to the mine.
He has special interest in spooky things. I like Julian. He's a good side character.
There's a wide open dirt space for parking along with some concrete barriers along the edge of the drop-off. There are a few signposts probably giving a brief history of the mine. Then there's TJ. The Lynx is sitting at the opening to the mine right at the entrance. He's leaning back against the rebar grid that sealed the entrance. What the? Julian stops talking and looks over at me, then the direction I'm looking.
Whoa, is that Tej?
I don't say anything because I realise now how limp the Lynx looks, his head tilted back, his paws limply laying on the ground. I'm out of the truck before Julian can even park, my to-go box spilling onto the gravel as I jog towards TJ. TJ, hey, what's wrong? You okay? The Lynx doesn't respond. When I get to him, I see that his eyes are open, but they're rolled back to the point where I can see only see white. I bend over him, trying to help him sit up better, made more difficult by the bulky backpack getting in the way. As I'm doing this, I feel a rush of cold air from the mine blowing out through the rebar. I ignore it at first, focused on trying to get TJ to respond to me, but then I realise this hissing sound to go with it, like someone exhaling. I glance up to the grid, but I don't see anything, so I get the unnerving feeling that the opening is breathing somehow.
Is he alright?
Julian's shouting and running up next to me as he turns the attention back to TJ. I look down at the Lynx and see his ears twitching around.
What?
I crouch down next to him, putting a paw behind his head to give him some support. TJ, what happened? Are you okay? TJ turns to me, blinking in confusion.
Okay. What's wrong?
He rubs at his eyes with the back of his paw before adjusting himself so he can sit up straight.
You were just sitting there. You almost looked...
Julian pauses. It looked like you were passed out or something. TJ finally seems to focus on his dazed look in his eyes disappearing.
Passed out? Oh, no, I was just taking a quick nap.
TJ lets out a short laugh and leans his head back against the backpack. What? Here? I look back at the sealed mine, the ominous blackness still seeming to yawn open at us. Why?
Well, it's hotter than usual today, so I started to feel like I was going to pass out. Thought there might be a bad sign, so I started to rest once I got here.
You came here on purpose?
Yeah, I saw the canyon with you last time, so I decided to take a short trip up to the mine this time.
TJ smiles lazily up at me as I continue to lounge against his backpack.
Sorry I worried you. Oh, Julian.
TJ seems to suddenly realise the stag is here.
What are you doing here?
TJ quickly gets to his feet, sliding his arms out of the straps of his backpack. He hugs Julian, the stag staggering back just as enthusiastically. TJ doesn't greet me so intimately. I guess they have more of history than I thought.
Hey, Tej, I just met... I met Chase at the diner. You weren't answering your texts, so we both decided to come up and find you. Chase needs some footage for his project.
Oh, cool. Do you need help with that, Chase?
TJ turns to me with a grin. I don't know what it is, but TJ's acting a lot chipper than he was yesterday. That almost dark broodiness is gone, replaced by his usual cheer. I have to smile because of it, despite the situation just a few minutes ago. Sure. Another breeze of cool air seems to whoosh softly through the rebar. I look back at it. TJ, why the hell would you sleep here next to the creepy mine? TJ frowns.
It was really cool.
Like
cold. I was laying in the opening and I felt some cold air blowing out, so I decided to lean against it. It feels really nice.
TJ walks up to the metal grid and spreads his arms out, clutching onto the bars. He presses his face against it. He leans his head back, pulling a face.
Well, it smells really musty, but it feels good.
I look back at the opening, the blackness inside sending chills up my spine. I think back to when the body was found in there over 100 years ago. Even though I knew there aren't any dead bodies in there now, it still creeps me the fuck out. I try to hide my shudder as I turn away, looking back at the truck.
Hey, so are we going to Sydney's old house now? Is that why you guys came to find me?
TJ's trying to hide it, but I can hear the eagerness in his voice. I turn back to look at him, but the Lynx now with his back to the mine pressed up against it. I want to tell him to move away from the opening, but I wouldn't be able to explain to him why. Well, let me get my filming done first. I can do the voiceover later, so I'll be quick. I hold back a wince as I realise how much time that's also going to take. My project is going to be shit at this point, I can't avoid that. just need to make it the least shit I can.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
TJ laughs nervously and then looks away.
Sorry, I'm just a little loopy from my nap. You guys really surprised me.
It's okay. I'm just gonna get my equipment ready real quick, okay?
Getting so silly. I
TJ nods at me and I jog off to the parked truck to grab my camera. So TJ might be acting a little weird, but I'm just glad he seems happy again. Seeing him that way, seeing him the way that he was last night was a little unnerving to say the least. I scoop up my camera bag from the bed of the truck and head back, slowing down to a walk as the heat is already starting to catch up with me. How TJ was able to go several hour long hikes on a several hour long hike is absurd to me. It almost seems foolish, especially for someone like TJ who knows about dangerous it can be. When I get back to the mine entrance, I see Julian and TJ sitting with their backs either side of the opening, chatting with each other. They're eating granola bars and TJ holds one out to me as I approach. Thanks. Hey TJ? TJ looks up at me innocently. If you want to go on a hike again, be sure to bring me next time, okay? I don't think you should be alone out here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
His ears drip a little, small frown in his face. I just don't want you to get hurt, you know? It's really hot today and it would have been really terrible if you passed out alone.
Yeah, sorry.
I drop my bag gently on the ground before leaning back against the wall next to the links. It's all good, I just want to make sure you're okay.
Thanks. I just didn't want to wake you up this morning.
Jenna offered to go with you, didn't she? TJ sighs quietly, looking away into the mine.
Yeah, but I can tell you guys don't want to go. I just don't want to ruin this trip for you more than I already have.
What? TJ, what are you talking about? TJ goes quiet, then shrugs his shoulders. Maybe he isn't back to his old self after all.
I wouldn't mind going with you, TJ. I love hiking.
Julian smiles gently at the links. For some reason, I feel a tiny tug of annoyance in my chest. It's stupid, but I was the one who offered first, and I'm the one that TJ took out the first time. Yeah, we could both go. The point is, you don't go out alone next time, alright, TJ?
Yeah, okay, thanks guys.
No problem.
A short silence stretches out between the three of us before Julian speaks up again.
We were just talking about our old Bible study group.
Ugh.
TJ leans his head back against the wall, rolling his eyes. It's an expression I don't see from him very often. What about it?
Oh, just the way TJ would always take it so seriously and no one else would.
TJ shakes his head in exasperation.
Yeah, I never had any control in that club.
Oh, really? Were you in charge? It's a little odd to think of TJ in a leadership position like that. I just never knew him to put himself out there in high school.
Yeah, I revived it after it sort of went defunct after a few years. Wasn't all that popular.
TJ smiled with some embarrassment.
Yeah, like we had like 3 other members, not including you or me.
Yeah, and one dropped after like 2 meetings.
Julian clicks his tongue.
What a godless school we went to.
Hey.
You know I'm kidding, mostly.
Well, I did want atheists to join too, as long as they weren't disruptive. I just wanted to show everyone what a nice experience it could be. Even if you didn't believe.
I very vaguely remember TJ inviting me to the club and saying that I'd think about it. I never went, of course.
Wasn't all that spiritual in the end, though.
Hey Leo, how's it going?
Hello.
Hello. Oh, come in. We're just doing some more echo. Where were we? Yes.
Yeah, mostly we just talked and brought snacks. It took TJ a while to realize no one actually wanted another Sunday school session of actual school.
Yep, hours of planning out the window.
It was still a great time. I think the 4 of us were happier for it.
Yeah, I guess.
TJ seems to suddenly notice me.
Ah, sorry, Chase, you wouldn't know much about this stuff.
It's okay. It's interesting to hear about. Again, I get that little twinge of jealousy, even though I know it's not fair. I chose not to show up, probably using that time to go home and hang out with Leo.
You didn't miss much, just discussions about movies and watching movies too.
Ugh, they couldn't even be religiously themed.
Thank God.
Hey!
I laugh at how indignant TJ is.
Well, I'm glad you got a good time at least. I came away thinking the whole thing was a failure.
I think I remember you mentioning that you wished your friend would have shown up. Your friend here would have shown up.
I don't really remember.
Of course you do. You said it all the time.
TJ's ear flatten and turn red. Who, me?
Yep.
Julian grins at TJ as TJ tries to look away. Well, the situation is kind of funny now. I feel even worse about not ever showing up. Sorry, TJ. You know it's high school and all.
Yeah, I understand. Don't worry about it.
So, did you start another club at your school?
TJ smirks.
It's a Christian school, so there's like 50 clubs about religion.
Oh, well,
Kitten, that is... Oh, you're right on my keyboard. You need to... I can't see anything, sweetie. Come here. Oh, no, Cortana.
Are you a member
Cortana,
of any
go
of them?
away. A few.
Which ones?
A singles club?
Singles?
Is it finding a date?
Sure.
He looks away again. It's hilarious how bashful he is about this stuff. He's in college. All of this should be natural to talk about, but not with TJ. You meet anyone?
Hey, Chase, don't you have to film some stuff?
He looks back at me with a frown. Whoa, just asking. Julian chuckles quietly. I bend down and start pulling out my equipment, deciding that a few long shots with the tripod should be enough. As I'm extending out the legs, Julian asks TJ about the hike.
Was it fun?
TJ shrugs, finishing the last of his granola bar and brushing his paws together to get rid of the crumbs.
It was okay. Really quiet.
I wince as one of my pads gets pinched between the metal.
Kinda creepy too, to be honest. I would like it if you two went along sometimes, if I do it again.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely. Over the next 20 minutes, I set up a camera in 3 different spots, getting about 1 minute of film for each. TJ and Julian sit in the truck while I do whatever. I glance at them, they seem to be animatedly chatting and laughing. Once I'm done, I sigh and quickly snap the legs back down into my bag along with the camera. I see my go-to box in the dirt and considering picking it up, but I don't. I drop the bag into the truck again before hopping into the passenger seat, leaving TJ to sit between the two of us. They go quiet as we start pulling out onto the dirt road. What were you guys talking about?
Not much, just about high school.
TJ nods. Again, I'm starting to feel a little left out between these two. Kind of a third wheel. So, what's the plan now?
Well, we thought we'd go to the house now, after we pick up Jenna and Carl.
Alright. We drive in silence a little while, and for some reason I start to wish that I was sitting in the middle. That way Julian keeps turning the wheel, forces his elbow to brush against TJ's side, and I force myself to look away, wondering what the fuck I'm thinking. I'm treating TJ like he's something that belongs to me. We're only hung out recently over the course of this week. I barely talked to him in the past 2 years. I force myself to look ahead out of the windshield. Then TJ's phone buzzes and my eyes naturally go to the screen where the link whips it out. I see the name Flynn and the message underneath it. I only have time to say a few words. You know his fucking tell me. TJ jerks his phone back down and I look away to see if the Lynx's eyes on my face. I wonder if he saw me looking. I'm sure he did. That doesn't really matter though, because now I'm wondering what the fuck Flynn thinks he's doing. They've been staying away from each other the whole past few days obviously, but I guess Flynn found another way to get to TJ. What the fuck does he think he's doing? I feel myself getting angry. I don't exactly know what the lizard is saying to TJ, but judging by what I saw, it's definitely not good. I make a mental note to ask TJ about it tonight. If he won't tell me, I'll let Leo know. He'll do something about it. We all walk up the sidewalk to the old ranch-style house. It's been a long, long time since I've seen this place. Even longer since I've walked on this path. Sydney's house is up a gravel road behind the forest. It's a bit of an odd spot, secluded from the rest of the town. It was all the better for us, I guess. It's nice not being reminded of what happened.
Guys, I don't know about this. You think he's just gonna let us in? What else can we do? Maybe Sydney didn't mean his room. Where else would he sleep? I don't know.
I mean, he'd nap in random places, I remember, right? Like he slept on my couch, even.
Stop it, Chase. You know that's not what he meant.
Well, who knows?
I do. I know where it is.
Dark Edge teacher's voice is creeping in again.
I suppose there's no harm in asking.
You can't deny it's a little weird for 5 young kids, 5 young adults to show up at your door asking to be let in. We don't have much of a choice though, do we?
TJ's walking ahead of all of us, marching up the concrete steps without hesitation before immediately ringing the bell. Whoa, wait, we didn't even think of what we're going to say.
I already know what I'm going to say.
We stand there in stunned silence for a bit before looking, and I look around at the others. Carl looks completely uncomfortable, almost nauseous, his paws shoved deep in his pockets as he stares hard at the ground. Jenna is staring at TJ, her brow furrowed, clearly worried. I think this meant to say her brow is furrowed, rather than her brown furrowed.
I think that might be typo number 3.
Her brown furrowed, clearly worried. Julian just stands there if the situation doesn't bother him at all. The door finally opens, revealing a young red panda, not much older than ourselves. He blinks at us and fixes a smile on his face.
Hello, can I help you?
I see TJ's ears flatten down for a moment, the original tough resolve clearly faltering.
Hello?
The red panda stares down at TJ for a moment, waiting expectantly. I don't recognise him, and I'm sure I would have seen him around town if he'd moved in after Sydney's parents moved out. It must have been sometime recently, a few years ago. I decide that I should step in to let TJ try and gather his wits. Hi, I'm Chase. This is TJ, Carl, Jenna, and Julian. I point to everyone, feeling my cheeks grow hot. Are you everyone? I'm Minji. Another moment of awkward silence before...
Why did you change the voice again?
Because it sounded too much like Julian.
Ah, yeah, fair enough.
Another moment of awkward silence before I tried to think of something else to say. No problem, Sharona. Thank you very much for the lurk. How the hell did you bring up wanting to search someone's house because it belonged to your dead friend? As I'm trying to figure out that, TJ speaks up again.
Our friend used to live here about 12 years ago.
Oh, really? Panda seems to think. Are you talking about Cindy?
Sydney. Yeah, he was our friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't remember the name. I think his aunt told me about what happened.
Yes, and he left something behind for us. In his room. Is it alright we come in and look for it?
Angie's original inquisitive look has replaced one of confusion and definitely a little bit of suspicion. All of you? I noticed Carl staring hard at the floor, his paws twisting in his pockets.
If that's alright with you.
Angie stares at all of us for a good 10 seconds, causing me to glance down at the floor, realizing how stupid all of this is. Finally, he starts to step back, closing the door a little bit as he does. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's a good idea.
Wait.
TJ steps forward, his fur bristling. The panda jumps a little, closing the door further until it's the point where I could only see one of his eyes.
Sorry, it's just... Maybe I could come in and the rest of my friends could wait outside? This will be really quick. I know exactly where to look.
The panda's one eye looks back at us. TJ turns around and makes shooting gestures with both paws. So shooting gestures with both paws, not shooting gestures. There's a pause and we stumble back down the steps in the sidewalk. My face burns again, embarrassed and realizing what a bunch of crazy people will look like right now. I look back and see TJ standing alone with the porch, looking back at the panda, his paws clasped together. Again, what feels like a really long silence seems to drag on until NG opens the door slightly. You know what? Why don't you just tell me where it is and I'll have a look?
Oh yeah,
TJ seems surprised as if now considering that idea.
It's the room on the left, down that hallway.
TJ points at the door at an angle.
It's in the closet, in the back corner. It might be in a box.
NG's facial expression mirrors mine as I frown. The box in a closet sitting there for over a decade. Alright, I'll have a look. NG disappears behind the door and I hear a deadbolt slide in place. We stand there in silence for a while before Carl breaks in.
Dude, he's calling the police. No, he's not. We look like a bunch of crazy people. We should leave. Not until he comes back out. I think I'm gonna be sick.
I think it's technically okay, unless he tells us to leave.
He did say he's gonna look for it. No harm in just waiting for his answer.
I see Carl scuff his hooves against the pavement, looking around nervously. I wonder if he said too much weed or something. Why do you think it's in the closet?
He used the shoebox in there as a spot for his treasure hunts before, you remember?
I vaguely do, now that he mentions it, but I'm surprised TJ does. He was even younger. Then the door opens and Inji comes back out. His facial expression is completely different now. It's one of amazement and disbelief. That's what his paws catch my attention. It's a teal-covered shoebox, old and worn, torn through at the corners. My mouth drops. Inji stands there for a moment, holding the box out. Is this it? It's not mine. There's a piece of paper inside. TJ's paw shakes as he reaches out and takes the box, lifting the lid to look inside. It was in the spot you said. I've never seen that before. I feel my stomach twist, more dismayed than anything as he found something. Do you not use that closet? It's a bit of an odd question, but I want to know how the hell he might have missed it. Inji shakes his head. No, not really. It's mostly a storage room right now. I think I've opened it a few times, put some boxes in the shelves, but I can't really remember. Did you not look inside when you first moved in? Inji looks at me. So does TJ over his shoulder. I guess now I'm sounding like the crazy person. Well, I can't really remember. It was a couple of years ago. I had family help me move in, so maybe they just thought it was mine when they saw it. I want to ask more, but I bite my lip, not wanting to seem as frustrated and suspicious as I am. It's definitely something I could have missed. I found a few things in the crawl space from the last family.
Who lived here before you, if you don't mind me asking?
Inji leans against the doorway, his arms folded, looking a lot more relaxed now. It was the family you're talking about, I think. The Bronsons.
Yes.
TJ's still looking down at the box, having not taken out the note. Yep, the woman who lived here moved out right after what happened, but then her sister moved in. She told me about what happened when I bought the place. Inji looks down at the box that TJ's still holding. Do you know what he left you? How do you know to find it? How do you know to find it?
It's an old scavenger hunt that we found. It told us to come here.
Like, something he left behind?
Yeah.
Wow, well, I'm sorry about what happened to your friend. You must have been a child at the time. No one says anything, so I nod for him. I'm sorry. Also, sorry for being so suspicious when you guys showed up. Thought I'd caught someone trying to break in a few days back. Can't be too careful.
Don't worry about it. That's completely understandable.
Inji nods, then shifts around. I don't want to pry, but what does it say? I didn't read it, since I don't want to intrude or nothing. TJ lifts the lid again, then reaches in to pull out the piece of paper. It's identical to the others that we've seen. Inji takes the box from the link so he can use both paws to unfold the note. Then he starts reading. I hope that you're having fun. Soon you'll know what Chase has done. Figure it out, it's a piece of cake. If you can't, look by Carl's drawing at the lake. It goes quiet for a while. The only sound is the wind rustling through the trees. Then I hear a gagging sound and look back just in time to see Carl hurling into some bushes. TJ is extremely calm as we sit in the motel room. It's been about half an hour since we found the last note. After Carl lost his lunch in the bushes, Julian drove him back home. We've had to put the scavenger hunt on hold. TJ wants us all to be there for it. Julian is still with us and keeps wondering when the hell he's going to go home. He's just joined our little group today, and TJ acts like he needs to be part of it for some reason. He barely even knows it. He barely even knew Sidley. But that doesn't really matter. The whole thing is so ridiculous. It's so obvious that Sidney had nothing to do with this scavenger hunt. Someone else is planting these damn notes, and they have it out for me. I sit with my back against the headboard of the bed, staring at my legs as TJ tries to defend this whole thing.
If it's really bothering you, Chase, then don't have to come.
I bristle a bit. You're insisting everyone else go, why not me? I force myself to not look over at Julian.
I do want you to come, but you're so angry. I've never seen you like this. Oh, I have. We all have. Chase is just acting like his old self now.
Jenna sits in the corner of her laptop as usual, smirking. It pisses me the fuck off. Listen, whoever's writing this has it out for me. Look at what the last one said.
Sydney wrote them, and he always does this and he always kind of teased you. It's just like him.
I go quiet, looking away with a glare.
What do you think the clues are implying about you, Chase?
I think for a moment, but it's hard with all the anger that keeps threatening to bubble up to the surface. I don't know, it just sounds like, I just don't like the sound of it. And honestly, I try to think of the right way to word what I'm going to say. If you respected me, you'd see that and stop this stupid hunt. He goes quiet for a moment, then Julian stands up.
Hey, I'm gonna head out. Let me know what you guys decide to do tomorrow. I've got the whole day off.
Oh, okay, man. Thanks so much for coming with us.
TJ gives the stag a side hug, and I try to remind myself. I keep myself from bristling. I'm really misreading shit today. Once Julian leaves the door, TJ sits at the foot of the bed looking at me.
I completely respect you, Chase, but I really think these are from Sydney. He's just teasing you.
I don't say anything, choosing to look at the wall, feeling more unnerved by my own emotions than anything else. I don't feel like myself at all.
I know I asked you this morning, but if you think this is someone else's doing, who could it be?
Jenna crosses her arms, looking at me earnestly. I sit there quietly for a moment, debating on whether or not I should tell him. I decide I have to, since neither of them seem to see it. I think it's Flynn.
What?
I think it's Flynn and Carl. They're doing this whole thing.
You can't be serious.
Who else? Carl's the one that found the first note. I think Flynn gave it to him. The look on Jen and TJ's face makes me look away again. Am I going crazy?
Chase, that's...
Crazy, I know, but if you saw how Carl was acting today, how nervous he was, he even threw up.
Carl does that sometimes.
Ugh. I slide my legs off the bed and let them hang over the side, fully facing the wall now.
I know how Flynn was back at the river, but even he wouldn't do that.
I look back at TJ with a glare. What about those texts he's sending you?
What?
TJ's paw flies to his pocket, shocked look in his face. Jenna looks between us.
What?
Flynn sent TJ a text swearing at him. I think he's been messaging you the whole time. TJ's quiet, just staring at me.
TJ, is that true?
TJ stares at the floor for a moment before finally looking up, his voice oddly calm.
Yeah, well, he's angry. Of course he would be. But he has no reason to be writing the scavenger hunt. Flynn would never do that.
You sure about that? TJ glares back at me, and now I can tell I've made him angry.
Yes. Why would he do it in the first place?
I don't have to think hard on that one. To hurt TJ, to ruin our friendship by making up lies about me, just to be a complete dick, take your pick.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
I don't say anything, choosing to glare at the wall. Jenna looks between us again and shakes her head.
Alright, that's enough of this. Neither of you are acting like yourselves, so I think it's best we head to bed, alright?
Whatever. I slide into bed on my side, still staring at the wall, listening to TJ get up and goes to the bathroom. Jenna goes on typing on her computer. I lay there quietly, deciding that I'm gonna have to do something to stop this. Sneaking out in the motel room is probably the hardest part. I know that if they catch me at any point, it's over. About 3 AM, I slide out of bed, listening to TJ's snores and watching Jenna unmoving from curled up on the bed in front of me. Quietly, I dig around my bag for the keys, slip out the door into the night. I grit my teeth as the car starts up, imagining TJ or Jenna pulling back the curtains and seeing me sitting in the car. I've got my excuses. I'm sick, I had to drive to the emergency room, or even that I just couldn't sleep and wanted to get a snack somewhere. They're all suspicious, but at least it should be enough to cover my ass if things go south. I drive along the quiet road, surroundings almost black since the moon had set. It takes me a minute to find the side road that will take me up to the shore. Once I do, I see one lonely orange light glaring in the middle of the parking lot. I park away from it at the edge of the lot. It's dark here. I sit in the car for a while, wondering what I'm doing, wondering what the fuck I'm going to do. But something drives me, a feeling like if I don't do this, then the rest of my life is going to be ruined. I can't let that happen. I open the door and quickly get out. I pull my phone and turn on the light, finding the small dirt trail that leads to the inky blackness. The air is cool and I can smell the lake. Pretty soon I can hear it too, the soft, desolate sounds of waves running against the thin strip of the shore. It's peaceful, but at the same time it terrifies me. At that moment I feel the lake is one giant living thing. It dwarfs me with its presence, a giant all-knowing thing. It knows I'm here. I shudder and force myself to continue. I find the shoreline and the dry sand shifts under my feet as I take as I take a right and follow the shore. I try to ignore the sound of the lake, the feeling that it's watching me, beckoning me towards it. Finally, I came across the boulder that I'm looking for. The one Carl used to carve his drawings into. Of course, it'd be something Carl would do. Carl used. That fat piece of shit. I kneel down beside it, moving the light of my phone around till I find the drawings. I look at the super wolf etched into the rock, glaring. I see the glint of light above it. I shift the phone light up to see what it is. I gasp and I can't help a ragged scream escaping my throat. A tarantula sits there staring back at me, a cluster of eyes shining black in the darkness. I stumble back into the sand and fall, sitting down hard and causing my teeth to clack together. I scramble back up. I look around for a rock and quietly find one. When I turn back around and lift the light, the spider is gone. I look around for a while just in case it's moved around, maybe on the ground closer to me. I don't see anything though, and I throw the rock at the lake, cursing the damn thing. Then I kneel down and look at the spot between the rocky ground and the boulder. It takes a few moments and I have to get real close, looking deep into the crevices, and then there's a glint of what looks like metal. I start to dig, first with my bare hands and then with the help of the flat rock laying nearby. I'm sweating and gasping by the time I pull the thing free. It looks like an old lunchbox. I shine the light on it, can barely make out what looks like a cartoon dragon. I open it and pull out the note. I read it. In a fit of rage, I tear the stupid thing in half, throwing it on the ground. You fucker. I hiss out through my teeth and pull the sound of pull out the piece of paper I'd taken, one of Jenna's notebooks along with a pen. I write for some moment using an old lunchbox as a flat surface. When I'm done, I drop it in the box and wedge the box at the crevice, covering up the loose dirt I'd moved. I pack it down and stand back up. Thinking twice, I pick up the shredded note and stuff it into my pocket. Then I walk back up the shore and up the trail, ignoring what looks like the eye shine of tarantulas all around me. Maybe it's just the stars. I don't remember much of the drive back or the parking lot of the motel. The next thing I know, I'm standing next to the bed, glaring down at TJ, watching him sleep.
None of that is good. None of that is good. What you thinking so far, Pupsky?
It's good. It does have much more of a sort of mystery intrigue. So we'll see where it
Just the
goes.
slow horror and breakdown of a person. I don't like it. This is why I put the abuse warning for emotional manipulation and abusive tendency stuff.
We arrived at the lake about 10 in the morning. Julian had driven down over an hour ago to pick us up before driving to Carl's house. Carl wasn't ready when we got there and we answered his door. His eyes were bleary and red. It took him a good 20 minutes to get ready, and all the while I struggled not to glare at him. It's weird. I've been friends with the Ram for almost my entire life, and only now that I'm feeling real disgust for the person that he is. So many self-created problems. He keeps his head down most of the time so he doesn't see me. He's still feeling sick too, so opts to ride in the truck bed on the way down, and Jenna sits with him. I can't help but wonder what might happen if we have an accident. TJ sits next to me, and I'm sure to sit in the middle, so that Julian is on my left and TJ is on my right. It feels better this way. As the lake comes into view, I rest my paw on TJ's knee. He glances at me and nods in acknowledgement. I give his thigh a squeeze and we wait as we pull into the parking lot, going over the scenarios in my head for what might happen.
Well, here we are.
I don't say anything in response and we quietly get out of the truck. Gina jumps out of the truck bed easily, but Carl struggles and I imagine him falling straight out and face planting on the asphalt. Jenna helps him though, and then we're all walking down the trail towards the lake, single file. I walk right behind TJ so I can keep an eye on him and anyone else that might try and fuck with him.
Wow, it's been 12 years since I've been down here.
Yeah. There's a cool freshness to the air by the lake. I breathe it in, getting hit with the sweet memories of spending entire days down here. Swimming in the lake, building sandcastles, poking at dead fish on the beach. As we start walking to the beach, I approach the big boulder. I feel my heart start to hammer in my chest. I pick up speed to catch up with TJ. How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
You don't sound okay.
I'm nervous.
We all are. I actually feel like I'm going to throw up. TJ suddenly reaches out his paw and holds mine. I'm surprised. TJ's never done this before, and although it's probably due to the situation we're in, it still makes me feel warm inside.
It's going to be okay. I know it. It's going to be the end.
TJ's voice breaks up in the last word. The end? The end of what exactly? TJ's guilt over Sydney? The mystery over what exactly happened to him? Or the world as we know it? Yeah, that's probably it. Because I know after this morning things are never going to be the same again. Just remember that if it's buried by that boulder, it's probably gone by now. I know I've said that every time before, but the lake has flooded a few times since. I look up the steep rocky bank to our right. Remember that spring that went all the way up to the road?
Yeah.
I look back at our friends. Jenna's walking side by side with Carl, talking to him in a low voice. Julian is ahead of them and looking directly at me. I look away. I'm just saying that even if it's there, it's probably water damage to the point we won't be able to read it. TJ stays silent as we come up to the rock, sitting there on the beach like it has since I can remember. Probably like it has since before the lake was even created. TJ still holds my paws. Julian, Jenna and Carl stand next to us, the five of us in a sort of semicircle around the boulder.
Well, here we are.
Julian says the exact same thing he said in the parking lot, and I feel myself starting to get annoyed. But I cling to TJ's paw, and that calms me down a little.
So, if it's still here, it could be anywhere, knowing Sydney.
Jenna says his name carefully.
He'd probably leave a marker of some kind. This one could be hard to find. Remember that he said it's by Carl's drawing. He'd probably be right next to that. I don't know, guys. The other ones were inside something. This is just out on a beach. The sand's changing all the time.
Carl digs at damp sand with a hoof, his paws shoved into his pockets, eyes downcast. Everything okay, Carl? I say it sharply, not bothering to filter out the annoyance in my voice. He looks at me a bit surprised.
Oh yeah, I'm okay. I just feel sicker from the drive down.
Smoke too much? Carl frowns.
No, I just get sick sometimes when I'm stressed out. The weed makes me feel less sick, actually.
I stop myself from asking what he's so stressed about.
Are you okay, Chase?
I'm good. I shouldn't be drawing attention to myself right now. Meanwhile, Julian is walking around the boulder looking at the drawing. Looking for the drawing. TJ lets go of my paw finally and starts to walk around the boulder to the other side. Almost immediately he points excitedly.
Oh, Carl, you're drawing.
Carl sidled up to him before chuckling quietly.
Oh, yeah, for some reason I thought that'd be gone by now. Why would it be? You chipped it into the rock. Didn't you, spend a month doing that?
Carl looks down at his paws.
Yeah, fuck my paws up doing it too.
I move around to stand next to them and see the rough outline of a muscular wolf with a long cape. Super Wolf. Carl had been obsessed with that superhero ever since the new movie was coming out that summer. I don't think he liked it very much because right after he saw it, he stopped working on the etching. It was actually pretty good, especially when you consider that Carl was 9 years old when he did it. I pushed those memories out of my head, wiping the smiling childish face of Carl from my mind. Then I steel myself, prepping for what I'm going to say and what's about to happen. Hey, look at the sand underneath it. Everyone looks down in unison where I'm pointing my finger. I let that sink in for a moment before I say it. The dirt. It looks like someone dug it up recently. No one says anything. Or maybe the sands just were there, I don't know. TJ kneels down by the boulder, reaching a paw to steady himself against it as Julian kneels down across from him. He reaches out with the other paw, poking at the loose dirt, slightly darker than the sand around it. Still no one says anything, and I decide not to push it further, knowing that I already planted a seed of doubt in TJ's mind.
We should have grabbed a garden shovel from your house, Carl. Yeah.
I pick up the flat rock I used last night. Here. I hand it to Julian. He looks at it for a second before digging the sharp end into the dirt. It sinks in deep and easily before the stag turns out the sand. Less than a minute later, TJ gasps and reaches into the shallow hole, pulling out the lunchbox. Now that it's daylight, I can see the chipped green paint on the dragon. TJ holds it for a moment, staring down at it. Julian looks around us.
Was that Sydney's?
I can't remember, but TJ nods with shaky hands and latches the metal clasps. Carl stands further back from the rest of us, motionless. Jenna once again has her paw up to her mouth, not saying anything. TJ opens the lid. The hinges squeak a little as the tin flaps flop open, revealing the note. Paw still shaking, TJ reaches in. At this point, there's a little hesitation on TJ's movements. He's eager to find out what it says, eager to get this done. TJ unfolds the note, then reads it. He doesn't read it aloud, instead letting his eyes go back and forth over the page while the rest of us wait. I know at this point he's finished reading it, but he doesn't say anything, eyes glued to the page.
TJ?
TJ doesn't say anything, continuing to stare.
TJ, what does it say?
TJ just sits there for a few more seconds before he wordlessly holds out the note to no one in particular. His face is blank for the most part, but I can see the shock in his eyes. Julian takes it from him and starts reading.
You've reached the end, but I don't have the answer, so I'll ask again. TJ, what happened to Sydney?
The silence that follows is the heaviest that I've ever experienced. Carl's still frozen, but he's looking up at Julian. Jenna moved her paw from her mouth at this point, but she's clutching her necklace, her eyes on TJ. Julian is just staring at the links, probably unsure of what any of this means. TJ, meanwhile, stares at the hole we'd dug up, his paws laying limp in his lap, ears dripping. I start walking over to him.
What does it mean? Do you guys know?
I rest the paw on TJ's shoulder, touching it softly. He doesn't move, so I crouch down next to him, slowly wrapping an arm around his shoulders, drawing him in. I can feel him trembling.
Guys?
I look over at Julian with a sad look on my face. We have a friend who has a grudge about the whole thing. I think he might have been the one leaving the notes. TJ shakes his head against me, but he doesn't say anything. Julian stares.
But why?
Well, welcome back, Shona.
Oh, hello.
I shrug, beginning to stroke the top of TJ's head. Julian looks from me to TJ. I don't know. Maybe he thought this was the last chance to hurt TJ somehow. I really don't know. Jenna and Carl walked up to stand next to us, and both seemed to be lost for words.
Paper is different, though.
TJ's voice is distant and faint, muffled against my chest. There are ways to make people look old. Maybe he just didn't have the time with this one. Julian shakes his head.
Listen, now, I know I've only been part of this for a day, but this is crazy. And there are a lot of assumptions. Do you really know what happened?
If you knew this friend of ours like we do, you'd understand how obvious this is. But then Jenna shakes her head as well.
No, Flynn wouldn't do this. He's a jerk, but he wouldn't do this.
Just chat and chat. Follow up him arrived from last year. Everything's fantastic. That's good to know. You know that Flynn's been sending TJ threatening texts all week and I've been out to fuck with TJ since we got here? Jenna shakes her head again but doesn't say anything.
He wouldn't.
I snap my gaze at Carl, glaring.
Dude, even at his worst, he'd never do something like this. It's too fucked up. All that work just to fuck with us? And it has to do with Sydney? No.
And who found the first note? Who's been Flynn's best friend since we all left?
Whoa, Chase.
Carl's eyes go wide. TJ finally lifts his head, looking up at Carl. You're the one that gave it to us. Set all this whole bullshit scavenger hunt. Carl takes a step back, mouth hanging open, looking like some sort of alien or something. This entire thing was fucking crazy from the start. Our dead friend left notes behind a decade ago and somehow it's all still here? In the old school? In that house? Fuck that.
Chase, stop it.
Jenna's voice is soft and distant, lacking any sort of authority. I stand up suddenly, staring the ram down.
What? How? No.
Carl takes another step back and I can see his chest heaving. He can't even get his words out. It's like he's just run a marathon and can't catch his breath. Huh?
I don't.
Carl clutches his chest and can't help but notice how fucking guilty he looks right now. He suddenly retches and gags loudly.
Carl, breathe.
No, you can't use your fucking anxiety. I make air quotes.
You monster.
As a shield right now. Did Flynn put you up to this? Carl retches again and doubles over, spitting from the ground.
Carl.
Jenna starts walking towards the ram, but at that moment something rushes past me and past Jenna. I have a moment to see TJ's back. His tufted ears are laid flat against his head like he'd moved so fast the wind has pushed them back. There's another quick movement that I can't quite see from my angle. But then Carl, stumbling back, paws up in his face, letting out a gasp like he's been holding on to breath for 10 minutes. I lunge forward, reaching out for TJ as the cat goes in for another swipe. Carl jumps back towards the embankment as he does, he lands on the many rocks that separate the beach from the road. I grab the back of TJ's shirt just to see Carl's hoof disappear between rocks. Then Carl falls back. There's a sound like a thick branch snapping in two, cutting the air like a gunshot. Immediately Carl lets out the hideous scream that I've ever heard the ram make.
No!
Let's wait for Mira to finish putting sauce on her stuff.
Sorry.
This is random sounds.
not my fault the bottle's almost empty.
Jenna runs past us, followed by Julian at a more even jog. Meanwhile, at the hold on to TJ, the Link's still going after Carl, making yowling sounds. His claws swipe the air, baring his teeth. He's wild, feral, not thinking at all. TJ? TJ, stop, I'm here, I'm here. I try talking to the Lynx's ear, at the same time feeling him starting to go limp in my grasp, the energy and rage slowly going out of him. I finally feel safe enough to turn him around, pulling him into a hug. It's okay. You got him. You're fine. TJ looks towards Carl one last time, watching the ram roll back and forth on his back, choking, howling and screaming all at once.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
TJ suddenly turns his face into my chest and starts to cry.
Jesus, his ankle.
Carl, can you move?
But Carl isn't listening, continuing to scream and hyperventilate at the same time.
Call an ambulance.
I don't know who she's talking to, but Julian pulls out his phone. TJ continues to sob into my chest and I start to move away towards the trail, pulling TJ with me. I'm taking TJ back to the motel.
Yes, leave, please.
Gina snarls at me over her shoulder.
Hey, we need paramedics. Yeah, somebody has tripped and broke his leg and now he can't get up.
Carl, I know it hurts, but you need to breathe. I'm going to count.
Jenna's voice fades away as I start fast walking towards the trail, pulling a sobbing TJ along with me. TJ finally pulls away from me when we reach the parking lot and suddenly and starts walking ahead, hugging himself. I follow behind him in a close distance, listening to him sob for a while. It isn't until we reach the road that he's finally calmed down enough to stop sobbing. I walk quietly behind him for a little longer before he finally catching up, walking next to him. He doesn't say anything and goes on hugging himself, hiccuping softly every once in a while. I wonder if I should say anything, ask him about what happened, or even change the subject completely. Eventually, though, he's the one to speak first.
I didn't mean to.
He cuts off as he goes into a coughing fit. I rub him on the back gently. It's okay. You don't have to explain yourself after what you did.
Do you think?
TJ takes a deep breath, finally steadying his words.
Do you think he really did that?
I let the silence drag out for a moment before finally replying. Who else could it have been? I completely understand why you went along with all these notes, but in the end, this was the only realistic conclusion we were going to get to.
Yeah. I just didn't think they'd do something like this, especially Carl.
TJ says Carl's name softly.
I still don't know if he did it, but then I remembered what he said when we played Spin the Bottle. I felt like it had to be him. I was just so angry. I've never been so angry in my life. It was scary.
I mean, maybe Flynn didn't tell him everything about what was going on. I guess he could have been tricked into thinking Flynn somehow had good intentions in all of this. I don't know.
His leg.
She covers his face like he's about to start crying again. I quickly put my arm around him and hold him close. Hey, this isn't your fault. Honestly, he deserved that scratch you gave him. He fell on his own. TJ shakes his head.
I can't even remember what happened. I just started running at him, like I wasn't in control. It was all automatic or something. Him too.
TJ? I stop the Lynx and turn him towards me, even though he keeps covering up his face. This is not your fault. What Flynn and Carl did to you is absolutely disgusting, and honestly I'm amazed that you were able to hold yourself back as much as you did.
But the sounds he was making sounded so awful.
TJ's face screws up under his paws. I hug him again. No, he only had a taste of the pain you're feeling on the inside. Now stop thinking about him, it's over. This whole thing is over. TJ starts crying softly and I hold him closer, letting him get it out of his system. Over his shoulder I can see the ambulance lights flashing, though they don't have a siren on. I'm thankful for that at least. My phone buzzes in my pocket a few times, but I ignore it, waiting for the Lynx's soft sobs to taper out. I turn him away from the lake so he doesn't see the lights and keep walking slowly up the road. Less than a mile away, the motel sign glints in the sunlight. TJ shuffles along, continuing his quiet snuffling. Did you want to leave today?
I don't know. Maybe?
Wait for Mio to be done again?
Done.
Well, let's get back to the motel and sit down for a while, okay? Then we can decide what we want to do.
Okay.
TJ's breathing evens out again and we get closer to the motel.
But why do you think Flynn would do that? It doesn't make any sense.
I shrug. Well, like I said yesterday, I think now that he knows he isn't going to get the answers he wants, he's just out to hurt us now. That's it, really.
You were right. I guess I didn't think he would be capable of that.
I mean, you always see the best in people. There's nothing wrong with that. TJ doesn't respond, and we're silent the rest of the way there. The first thing TJ does when we get inside is lay on the bed and stare at the ceiling. I check my texts and see they're all from Jenna. They say Carl just broke his ankle and that he's going to be fine. Julian is driving me to the hospital so we can sit with Carl and bring him back when they're done. By the way, when they asked Carl what happened, he just said he slipped on a rock and fell. He said that's where the scratch came from too. I assume he doesn't want us to tell anyone about what happened. You should think about checking out early. I'm probably going to a friend's house in Peyton after this. I stare at the last text, wondering exactly what it means. She's going to a friend's house and that's just it? Almost sounds like she's done with us. I guess one good thing came out of this then. Carl's going to be fine. They told the paramedics he slipped on a rock, so I don't think he's going to be like pressing charges or anything. TJ covers his face and I hope he isn't about to cry again, but when he starts talking his voice is steady and even.
I'm gonna have to see him before we leave. I don't want to leave the town like this.
He sounds defeated, like he knows things are now ruined before any sorts of repair. I suddenly feel a wave of compassion and love for the Lynx. Purely good person in this shit town. I get up and drape myself over the bed next to TJ. He looks up in surprise, ears perked and twitching, his tufts waving around in the most adorable way. Listen, I know we can't just forget what happened back there. I know we can't just fix everything, but... I pause and wait for TJ to look up at me. I want to spend the rest of the weekend together and just have fun. There's not really much else we can do. Oh, we're due to have an ad break in a minute and a half, which we can't do anything about, but we can carry on and we'll stop during the ad break.
That's okay, because I want to go make a hot chocolate and dip biscuits in it.
Alright, so we'll go and have that in about a minute. TJ looks back up at the ceiling.
But what about your project?
I laugh. Dude, that doesn't matter anymore. I'll just retake the class over the summer or something.
That doesn't sound good. I don't want to cause you to fail.
You're not. You're not. I'm making this decision. TJ continues to stare at the ceiling, his eyes glistening from unshed tears.
I don't know. It doesn't feel right. I just broke Carl's leg.
Carl fell and broke his leg, TJ.
No, I did it. Things are so messed up now.
His voice starts to go high again and quickly put a paw on his shoulder. Shh, we can't think about that anymore. It's over. I rub his shoulder comfortingly. You know what? Let's go to Peyton. Get out of this crappy town and do something, okay? TJ lets out a shuddery sigh.
Maybe I just need a minute.
Okay. I roll over and look out the window through the blinds, feeling like I've accomplished something. Things went a little further than what I'd planned on, but they're working out for the best. My main issue now is figuring out what the hell Flynn and Carl were planning with all that bullshit, and what all they know. Right, because we're gonna have to do an ad break, because Twitch now automatically does ads. Oh, was that actually an ad running? Oh, that was actually an ad running. Alright, well, we know for next time. So, yes, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break.
It didn't show up in chat like it should have done.
It showed up for me.
Okay, it was supposed to show up for chat.
Oh, right, okay. Alright, well, as I said, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. So I can go pee and get myself some juice, and we'll pick a hot chocolate. So, yeah, we're back in 2 minutes, folks, and we'll carry on. Yeah, back in 2.
Cool.
Alrighty, folks. Apologies for taking a little bit longer than that. Had 1 or 2 tech issues I needed to fix. But we're back. So we are carrying on with carrying on. So what we did before was the main issue now is figuring out what the hell Flynn and Carl were planning with all that bullshit and what they all knew. Assuming it had been them at all, but as of right now I can't imagine who else it could have been. I feel a little guilty about what happened to Carl, but I had to show everyone how stupid and crazy the whole thing was. And just then I see Flynn's truck roll into the parking lot. I tense up, staring in disbelief. What the hell reason would he have to come here? I'm only frozen up for a moment before I suddenly swing my legs off the bed. I don't know if TJ is looking. I hope not as I start closing the blinds. I'll close these so the sun isn't shining in your eyes. I'm going to make a call to Jenna to make sure things are going okay. Alright, okay. I look back and relieved to see TJ is only now looking over at me.
Okay, tell her I'm sorry.
I will. Now get some rest. I try not to look like I'm in a hurry as I go to the door and open it just wide enough for me to slide out. Flynn's truck pulls in the parking space about 20 feet away and I jog over to him before he can get out. Hey, I say just as he opens the door. He looks at me coldly for a moment before getting out and slamming the door shut. Hey. We stand there awkwardly for a full 10 seconds but Flynn doesn't say anything. You need something?
Why do you think I'm here, Chase?
I shrug. I have no idea, Flynn. Flynn stares at me for a few more seconds as he chews a toothpick in his mouth.
You were down by the lake.
That's a really weird thing to assume, Flynn. Flynn scoffs.
Don't play with me. I see ambulance lights all over by the lake. In 10 minutes later I get text from Carl telling me he hurt his leg.
Really, Flynn? People go down by the lake all the time. It could have been anyone.
No one goes down by the lake. I know you've been sneaking around town doing shady shit with TJ and Jen.
I keep on a straight face, refusing to crack under Flynn's pressure.
The only reason why I didn't ask you what the fuck you were doing is because I know you all hate me right now. But if you really went down there together, that's fucked.
Why is that fucked, Flynn? Because you decided to off limits for everyone. You said it's off limits for everyone because it makes you feel bad? Flynn's eyes widen for a moment.
Do not fuck with me on this, Chase. You know the last thing I ever want to hear from you.
It's strange how I feel right now. Normally I'd be trying to calm the lizard, try to talk him through his temper and post-trauma, but now I don't care. Just like with Carl, I don't care how far this goes. This is his fault in the end. I can't believe you, Flynn. You start this whole thing and now you act like a victim. It's fucking disgusting. Flynn gives me a baffled look.
What are you talking about? You mean what I said by the river?
Actually, yeah, that was probably the start of it.
How does that lead your assholes to fucking around by the lake?
You know exactly how. I watch Flynn carefully, trying to see if I can sense anything in his demeanour and his expressions. I've never known him to lie, but if he's lying right now, then he's fucking amazing at it because all I can sense is bewilderment. He must have a lot of experience with lying.
Chase, what the fuck is up with you right now?
What do you mean?
You're acting like an ass.
Oh, so now you know how we all feel when you talk to us. Flynn stares at me, studying me, then looks up.
Who's here?
No one.
The fuck? Where's TJ and Jenna?
Not here. Flynn glances down at me.
Well, I gotta go take a piss, so can I come in?
No. We stare at each other down for a long, long time. Finally, Flynn pushes past me.
Well, I'm gonna give the door a knock to see if anyone's there. Maybe you missed them.
I whirl around and follow him angrily. He doesn't want to talk to you. Flynn turns on me.
Oh, so TJ's here then. Why didn't you tell me that?
Why do you think, Flynn? You need to leave right now. Get in.
Kitties.
Flynn glares down at me.
I know you guys are up to something having to do with Sydney. If that's the case, then I have every right to know.
Flynn starts walking again.
And he has every right to talk to me himself.
I dart around Flynn and stand in front of the lizard, glaring up and bracing myself once again.
Get out of the way, Chase.
Leave him alone. Flynn pauses.
All I want to do is talk, that's it.
I let out a mirthless laugh. After what you did at the river? Hell no. Flynn tries to push around me again. I grab his arm. He swings and tries to yank it back and I shove him back towards his truck. Leave. I'd be yelling right now, but I don't want TJ to hear us through the thin motel walls.
Don't fucking touch me. Get out of my fucking way.
Tries again, but this time I grab his arm and yank him away, swinging him like Leo did at the river. He might be tall, but I'm kind of amazed at how easily I can manipulate Flynn's body, like a mannequin. Either that or I just don't know my own strength. Flynn rolls with a curse and immediately pops back up, taking an upward swing at my head.
Fucking little prick.
I duck his punch and tackle him to the ground around the waist, knocking both of us to the asphalt as Flynn grunts loudly. I scramble on top of the lizard and sit on his chest, pinning his arms under my knees. Again, he can barely move under me.
Weak.
Weak. I snarl down at him, raising a fist. Flynn flinches, closing his eyes and turning his head away. I pause, letting the tension build. Finally, I slowly lower it. Leave, Flynn, otherwise I'm going to cave your fucking face in. I'm tired of rebuilding TJ and taking out your problems and the rest of us just being a miserable piece of shit all your life. I keep my voice low, almost growling like a canine. Flynn cracks open one eye, looking up at me in fear. I fucking hate you. I always have. You deserve to have every single one of your fucking teeth knocked out for the way you've treated us. I look back towards the door, but it's closed. Quiet. I look back down at Flynn. Leave, and I never want to see your ugly fucking face ever again, understand? Flynn just stares up at me. I can see the fear still, maybe even a little hurt.
What happened, Chase?
I don't say anything. I know he isn't going to fight anymore. I get up and Flynn lays there for a moment staring at me. Finally rolls over and gets to his feet unsteadily. Then without a word gets back into his truck and starts it up. I turn away, finally hearing the lizard pull out of the parking lot as I open the door to the motel. I'm relieved to see TJ sitting on the bed looking down at his phone. I was positive that he'd heard something. He looks up when he hears the door open.
Hey,
Hey, Teach.
what did she say?
Carl's scared the doctors are checking him out. She says you're fine and she understands why you did it, but she's a little stressed out too, because she's going to a friend's house in Peyton.
Oh,
TJ's ears lower. I think she just wants to give you space.
maybe. Did I get a text from Julian?
Oh, really? There's that twinge of irritation.
Yeah, he said he was going to stop by after he drops off Carl. I was thinking we could wait until then before we leave, to talk to Julian at least. I don't think Carl wants to see me.
Okay. I try not to let the anger creep up my voice as I sit down in the bed next to the Lynx.
And Chase?
Yeah? TJ smiles at me through puffy eyes and matted cheek fur.
Thanks for being there for me. It means a lot.
It's late afternoon by the time Julian arrives to pick us up from the motel. Things are predictably awkward at first. The stag drives us out of town in silence. I'm just happy that I managed to sit between him and TJ again, leaving the Lynx to stare out the window and the desert landscapes passes by. I watch Julian as his thumbs tap idly on the steering wheel before he suddenly sits up straight.
Oh, Chase, you left your camera in the truck bed yesterday. I forgot to tell you.
He glances over at me and I nod. Yeah, probably should have remembered that.
Do what? You want me to pull over so you can grab it out? I don't know how you feel about it sliding around in the back out there while we're on the highway.
I shrug. Should be fine. It's probably been through worse considering all it's a crap rental from the university. Julian starts tapping away at the steering wheel again.
So your friend seems okay? He'll need to rest for a few months to recover, but he didn't seem too worried about that.
I snort. Of course not.
Yeah, anyway, what was it you guys wanted to do?
Julian leans forward a bit to glance at TJ. I just wish he'd keep his fucking eyes on the road. I nudge the Lynx as he snaps his gaze from the window to look at us.
Huh?
I was asking what you wanted to do tonight, DJ.
Oh, I'm not really sure. We could go see a movie, maybe.
Anything you want to see?
Not really.
You know, I used to do this thing where I'd get a random ticket to a movie I'd never heard of before. I'd have no expectations, so usually I'd be pleasantly surprised.
Oh, that sounds kind of fun, as long as it's not R-rated.
Yeah, so the way
Why don't we go to the Familyplex? I'd cut Julian off looking over at TJ.
The Familyplex?
Yeah, you remember that place, right? We'd go there as kids with brothers and stuff.
The old run-down arcade thing at the mall?
Yeah. TJ seems to perk up a bit.
I haven't been to that place in like 10 years. That could be a lot of fun.
If it's still open, I haven't been to that corner of the mall in a long time.
It is.
Well, alright then, should we go there?
There's a moment of silence before TJ shifts next to me.
Yeah, let's do that.
Familyplex is basically as I remember it. Like TJ had said, the good decade has passed since we'd been there, maybe more. But the ugly stained carpet, still sickly coloured walls that still cover the place, and the real relic of the 80s and 90s. Still, I'm happy to see TJ smile as we walk in, his adorably wide eyes scanning the place as I'm sure he's hit with that same sense of nostalgia.
Oh my gosh, everything's exactly the same.
The look on Julian's face is slightly less enthusiastic.
Even smells the same.
I kind of like it actually. Reminds me of a movie theatre.
Same.
It's really just the popcorn and recycled air from the AC.
I realise that what a stick in the mud Julian is, but I ignore him instead of following TJ as we make our way to the machines. Luckily the place is mostly empty. There's a group of teenagers being loud and annoying by the air hockey tables, but otherwise we have the place to ourselves. For a moment we just stand there, and then Julian reaches into his pocket.
You guys want to chip in some money and I'll go get us a few rolls of quarters?
I take out a 5 and so does Julian, while TJ hands over a 10.
Wow, T, just a lot.
I only have 10s. Besides, we'll go through them fast. We always do.
Julian walks off to the front counter while TJ and I wait awkwardly next to the skee ball ramp. I feel like things wouldn't be so tense if Julian wasn't here, and I feel myself getting progressively annoyed by his presence. I'm about to ask TJ how he's feeling when Julian comes back with 2 rolls of quarters.
So we have 2 rolls. You want me to count out your shares, or?
I shake my head. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're just here to hang out anyway.
TJ takes one of the rolls and tears off one end.
You guys want a skee ball?
Sure. You know, I've always been pretty good at this game.
I take the open roll of quarters from TJ and take one of my own out. Take out one of my own, inserting it into the neighbouring skee ball machine. There are only 2, and I kind of hope that Julian might just wander away, but he stays right there behind TJ watching. I sigh and insert my coin, watching his little balls roll into the little compartment. Meanwhile, TJ's having a terrible time, each one of the balls rolling into the scoreless gutter. I roll my first ball and watch as it misses the 40 and rolls into the 10 gutter.
Oh, don't worry about it, T. Do you want me to show you how?
Julian moves next to me, I grit my teeth in annoyance, moving over a bit. The stag flicks the ball expertly down the ramp and lands squarely in the 40.
Wow, when you first try too.
Honestly, I'm a bit out of practice, but I usually go for the hundreds in the corner.
How do you do it?
Well,
Julian grabs hold of TJ's wrist and I feel my fur start to stand up on my neck and shoulders.
it's all in the wrist.
That is 5 unread messages.
What?
Yeah.
You alright? Is something to reply to?
Not at the moment, but I might mute so I can listen to them. And
Yeah,
then
sure.
if TJ comes up, I'll pause it and come back in, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just give me a sec.
He moves TJ's arm forward before bending the Lynx's wrist. Oh, I see. TJ tries again, this time gets a 10, but on his second try lands in the 50.
Nice.
Julian holds up his paw and TJ slaps it loudly. The stag laughs and looks over at me.
You alright, Chase? You still got 4 balls.
Without a word, I turn back to the machine and huck the balls down the ramp, each one landing in the gutter. Meanwhile, I listen to Julian and TJ celebrate another 50. For the rest of the night, I followed TJ and Julian around the stag, showing the cat how best to play the games. All the while, I stand next to them, dumping my quarters into games I don't even finish. I just want us to get to run out so we can leave. The drive back is quiet and tense. TJ and Julian asked me multiple times at the family plex if I was alright, and I finally told them I just had a headache. That stopped the questioning for the most part, and luckily that prompted TJ to propose we go back to the motel. I tensed up again when he offers Julian to spend the night there, but luckily the stag declines wanting to go back home to his own bed. As we drive, I notice TJ nodding off, his head bumping against the glass of the window. You feeling against me, TJ? TJ's ears flick, flushing a bit. Oh, really? I mean, I don't want to... As an answer, I reach over, clasp the side of TJ's face before I force the Lynx's head to lean sideways against my shoulder. TJ stiffens up, but then he relaxes, and 5 minutes later I can tell he's fallen into a light sleep. Julian glances over at us occasionally, but doesn't say anything. I lean my cheek against the top of TJ's head. I realise how good it feels to sort of envelope him like this. It feels like I'm protecting him. All those bad, tense feelings from the arcade start to melt away. Pretty soon I start to drift off as well, the smooth drone of the highway lulling me to sleep. I open my eyes and see the back of a rusty white sedan pull off on the side of the road. Julian's pulling off as well, behind the car. The sun's already getting low in the sky, a little bit of cloud cover rolling in from the west. That's when I realise there's a large coyote standing next to the car, leaned over and looking at the front left wheel. She stands up with her headlights hit her. She shields her eyes against the light. Janice. Julian shuts his headlights off.
Looks like she's got a flat.
TJ wakes up and I'm a bit disappointed to feel him shift off my shoulder. What's going on? Julian's already hopping out the car, walking up to the now grinning Janice as she sets her paws on her hips. Well now, what you doing out here, Julie? I can hear her loud, obnoxious voice even when the door's closed. Janice is a flat. Wanna go back to sleep until Julian's helped her? TJ shakes his head, shifting himself to open the door and hop out. I sigh as he leaves, pushing myself across the seat to jump out as well. Jason to Baz too? She turns her psychotic grin on us.
Yeah, we were having a night out. Anyway, do you need any help?
Sorry about that.
It's alright.
What have I missed?
They've just basically... Julian's been helping TJ win games, and Chase has been getting more and more annoyed at this. Then they left, and Chase insisted TJ sleep on top of him rather than sleeping against the car window. He seemed quite reluctant to do so. Then we found Janice waiting at the side of the road with a flat tire. We've just stopped and TJ's just woken up. They've just stopped to try and help Janice. So it's just been asking Janice, do you need any help? So if you're good reading, Janice?
Okay. My friend's having a tough time.
It's alright.
I got biscuits stuck to the roof of my mouth.
It's totally fine, honey.
Well, you know, Julian, I actually do. I don't have my own Jack, been missing that pass for 15 years.
Julian smiles back warmly.
Well, I got one. Do you have a spare?
Yep, in the bag. Hope it's not flat too. Haven't had to use that thing in a while.
Well, go ahead and pop the trunk and we'll see what you got. I'll go get my jack.
Julian jogs back to the truck while TJ and I stand behind Janice's car. Sadly, that's when the old coyote turns her attention to us.
Well, how are you doing this evening? I'm doing well, thanks. I want to thank you again for doing all that yard work during your vacation. Seems I'm always out here needing help. Oh, it was no trouble at all, man.
I'm happy to let TJ do the talking. Just wanting to get all this over with as soon as possible so we can head back to the motel. I squint as Julian's headlights come back on and he hops out of the truck.
Just want to give us a little more light.
Janice pops the trunk and lifts up, revealing a cluttered mess inside. She brushes it all aside and lifts the flap, revealing an old, rusty spare tire. She nudges at it, testing the air pressure before lifting it out.
Well, it's a little deflated, but it should be enough to get me to Duke's house. I know he's got a few tires I can probably use. If not, I'll just get him to drive me out and buy me one.
Julian kneels down next to Janice's car, setting up the jack. We stand there in silence a bit, watching the stag as he works.
Speaking of your vacation, it wasn't really a vacation for you, was it, Chase?
My heart sinks a bit as the dumb yote turns her attention directly to me. I grunt politely in question, keeping my gaze on Julian to show Janice that I'm definitely not interested in what she has to say.
Well, that Grandpa Lizard, Flynn was telling me about it in the diner a few days back. Something about you wanted to document spooky stuff in town.
I'm trying to think of a way to keep things uninteresting so she doesn't ask any more questions. Sort of. Mainly I just wanted to find some information on a murder that happened like 100 years ago. Couldn't find out much.
Oh, Flynn made it sound like it was more one of those ghost documentaries I like to watch sometimes. I had a few stories for you.
I keep my eyes firmly on Julian's paws as he starts to crank the jack.
Oh my god.
Then TJ nudges me.
Hey, are there any rules against it being a ghost documentary?
I sigh, though I try to keep it quiet for TJ's sake. It's more of a news piece, so a ghost story wouldn't really work, I don't think.
Actually, I've seen segments on the news about ghosts. I don't know if they're serious, but when someone catches on something on camera, they'll always play it out.
I shrug. Well, even if that's the case, I probably wouldn't get a very good grade.
It's better than no grade at all.
TJ smiles encouragingly at me, and I can't help but smile back. He also has a way of cheering me up no matter how bad a mood I'm in.
That's the spirit. Besides, could just be about the history of it rather than making it seem real, even if it is real.
I sigh again, though this time I don't try and cover it up. Janice either doesn't notice or doesn't care.
So would you like to hear him?
Yeah, let me grab a notepad real quick. I walk over to Julian's truck, listening to Janice as she babbles excitedly to TJ about how scary it is. I try to unzip the bag, but the ledge of the truck bed is too tall. I have to grab Yep, sure. So I have to grab the whole fucking thing and trudge it back over to the car. I unzip the side pocket and pull out my notepad and pen. Then I stand straight and look at Janice expectingly. The coyote sits on the ledge of the trunk, making the car shift. Julian pauses, eyes wide, as I'm sure he thought the sedan was about to topple off the jack. I'm just going to use this time to just quietly eat some sour skeletons.
Adorable.
Go on.
No. I'm not a fan of sour.
Not that sour. They're just like slightly more, very, very slightly more sour gummy bears.
I would like to try some of the cola bottles while
Yes, we'll have them.
I'll just...
Oh, can I put these back over by you? Because they're... trying to work out who it is that Julian's model reminds me of. I can't place it. What do you think now? Are you actually awake, honey? Alright.
My head just started pounding again.
It's alright, we will just wait for one to be back.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright.
Short of it is, friend is going into a manic, and therefore I'm getting like a bajillion messages.
It's totally fine, hon.
Well, let's see. I can start with what my grandpa told me.
Yeah, that works.
Actually, that's great, because this happened right here, in these very woods.
Janice gestures off to the side of the road at the trees.
So my grandpa was taking a walk in there with my grandma, I want to say in the 40s, right after they were married. They were walking along one of those little trails in there. And as they were, they started hearing, that's my friend on a manic again, this strange sound in the trees, like something scuttling up and down the branches. They kept looking but couldn't see anything.
TJ hugs himself and rubs his arms with his paws.
Wow, that's creepy. Oh, that ain't the half of it, Tobias. Thing is, as they kept walking, these sounds followed them. And then...
Janice lowers her voice despite my annoyance. I have to draw a bit closer to hear her next words.
They started to hear it talk. Hear what talk?
TJ is fully drawn in by Janice's theatrics and I have to struggle not to roll my eyes.
Well, whatever it was, it started talking down to them.
Janice pauses and glances at me. I make sure not to give her anything, staring glassy-eyed at my notepad.
What did it say? Well, just strange things like, you're here, and I see you. Though my grandpa said he wasn't even sure if it was talking to them, really. He said that when it started to just laugh, that's when he and my grandma started running. Even then, it followed them. He said it sounded like it was rising in the air and landed from tree to tree, following them until they got out.
At this point, TJ's just frowning and I have to force myself to jot down stupid notes.
Well, what was it?
Janice shrugs.
Dunno. Grandpa only told me the story once when he said we couldn't go on a family walk in that forest. I asked him why, and he told me. Asked Grandma too, but she just pretended she couldn't hear me. Thing is, my grandpa's not a liar. That I can promise you.
I scribble in the notepad, pretending to write all this down.
Oh, he also said it sounded mechanical. Kind of like it was coming through a machine or a computer. Oh, it's like the echo from the canyon. And the thing in Leo's route that I've heard about. That's
is like
weird,
the
because I didn't
least
really
we've
have
heard-
those back then.
Sorry. This is like the least we've heard of Leo this run.
Yeah, like he's just not really in this one. It's gonna be fun going from this to like nothing but Leo.
Yeah.
And the 3 holes punched in the drywall. Oh, Leo.
A moment of silence goes by as I wait for Janice to go on. When she doesn't, I look up. So that's it?
Oh yeah, do they think they actually see something?
I shrug. Anything else? Janice thinks.
Well, there's this bear up the road named Brian. One time he told me a story about seeing some aliens around here. UFOs and such.
This time I can't stop my eyes from rolling, but again Janice doesn't see or ignores it.
Said back when he was a teenager he saw a flying saucer as he was passing by the lake.
I don't even bother to move my pen, but Janice keeps going.
You know, I was listening to this podcast a while back. You know those radio shows on the internet? Oh, really, Janice? Tell us what a podcast is. Oh, yeah, I love listening to those when I work out. Such as Penancerpg. Sorry.
Self-plug!
Fucking shoot me. Ah, here we go again.
Do you need a minute to respond?
I should only be a second this time.
Okay. Would you read one more? Sure.
Okay, there we go. Advice given. Well, there's this paranormal one I listened to that really goes in depth on this kind of stuff. And you know, we've all heard about the story about gold in the quartz deposit?
Yep.
Well,
Janice lowers her voice then again like she's discovered the best kept secret in the entire world.
in the podcast, they were going on about how places with lots of quartz end up being more haunted. You know why?
I don't say anything, so TJ chimes in.
Why? Well, the quartz captures stuff from the past. Like really emotional, angry stuff, and sometimes when things line up just right, they play it back. Only when they do, it's all twisted up and mixed up with other stuff. Makes what you see really awful and horrible looking, but you know?
Janice pauses again.
What? I think there's more to it than that. I think there's something with the conscious mind behind it all out here in Echo.
I finally have to break in. Has anything happened to you specifically? You know, it's better to have something straight from the source rather than second hand. Janice finally goes quiet, eyes flicking down to look at the ground. Julian, meanwhile, has pulled off the tire and is fitting the spare in place.
Well, maybe.
I grit my teeth. What do you mean? Janet lets out a soft, mirthless chuckle.
Let's just say I've seen things I promised not to tell anyone about, Chase.
I can't tell if she's joking or not, so I'll just go along with it. Oh, you order a hit on someone?
Maybe, Chase.
TJ just stands there, a mortified expression on his face. I look down at my camera bag. Well, I think it might be good to get some footage of the trees in here while there's still light. Still a little light. If I'm going to do a whole ghost story thing, then I better give a horror movie vibe.
Oh, well, that sounds like wonderfully spooky.
Start towards the tree line, then look back at TJ. You want to come with?
Oh,
TJ looks back at Chance and Julian, the latter of which is screwing on the tire.
go on, TJ. Give him some company in there. Especially after I told you that story. Ha ha!
Janice cackles, causing the car to shake again.
Besides, I don't mind keeping Julian company in the meantime.
Julian grunts as he keeps his focus on the tire.
Well, okay.
With that, TJ and I cross the ditch into the forest, following a little trail that weaves through the trees. As the darkness of the forest engulfs us, I look back at TJ and see him timidly moving along, looking at the trees nervously. I grin. Are you scared? TJ looks over at me with a start.
Oh, can you hear that?
Yep. It's very high pitched, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a lady shouting at someone outside, calling them a fucker.
Ah, okay. He lets out a soft laugh.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I pause, waiting for Lynx to catch up to me, then hold up my paw to him. He stares at it for a moment. He's not comprehending what it is. So, as if not comprehending what it is. I stubbornly keep it outstretched. No one's gonna see. TJ seems to think about it for a moment, then I see the lynx wipe his paw in his pants quickly before reaching out to take mine. I pull TJ along through the forest, glancing up to see if we can find a patch of sky sufficient enough for the shot I want. Don't worry, man, I saw something in here too. So you know I saw something in here too.
What?
TJ's busy looking off at the trees, his ears perked listening. Yep, when I was a kid I thought I saw a fox hanging from the trees.
Oh my gosh, please don't tell me this right now.
I frown. Listen, what I realise is sometimes people hallucinate things.
I'd rather just not talk about it right now.
All I'm saying is the stories that Janice told us aren't real, and even if they are, these people hallucinated, that's it.
Well, sure, but that doesn't mean I won't still freak out if I do see something.
I squeeze the lynx's paw in mine, shaking it around a little. Well, if you've got me if it happens. He just squeezes back. There's a slight resistance in his grasp though, as if he's trying to pull back from me while at the same time holding on to me.
Chase, have you been feeling alright?
I feel fine. I stop in the path looking up at the little patch of dusty sky above me, almost spherical and perfect from the shot I was going to get.
Because you seem a little bit off, especially when we were at Familyplex.
And I know we've... Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Yep.
and I know we've all been a little off since what happened. I mean, I was feeling really, really weird the past few days.
I set the bag on the path, unzipping the main compartment and pulling out the camera.
Maybe you're feeling the same way that I was?
I shrug, turning the camera on. I feel fine, Teach. TJ suddenly places a paw on my arm that gives me pause.
Chase, are you sure?
He's looking me directly in the eye, his paw pads warming the fur and skin under them, chasing away the chill of the evening. And his wide blue eyes that catch my attention though. Well, it's his wide blue eyes that catch my attention though. They're sincere, kind, full of love. Saying that I realise what TJ is trying to tell me. After all this time we spent together over the week, getting to know each other better, talking about our future plans. It's only now that I realise. I stand up straight, facing the lynx more directly, a soft smile on my lips. TJ looks up at me, eyes looking over my face as if searching for something. I lean in and kiss him. It lasts a moment. Our lips meet mine on his for the first time. It's a moment of pure bliss. I close my eyes to show the lynx just how passionate I am about it. I feel his lips freeze against mine, suddenly they're gone. I open my eyes in time to see TJ stumbling backwards. One paw flies up to his mouth and the other stretches out behind himself as if worry he's going to run into the trees. I guess I surprised him. I smile and gently follow the cat, reaching at my paws. You alright? As I reach out for him, he pushes my paws away. I frown. What?
What was that?
TJ is whispering, but it's a loud sort of whisper, almost deafening in the quiet forest. What do you mean? I kissed you, TJ. I love you. The look of pure shock and horror on TJ's face stuns me. What?
What are you talking about?
TJ, you're asking really dumb questions right now. You heard me. I feel myself getting a little irritated. I just bared my soul to him and now he's acting like I just told him a terrible secret.
But you mean like a friend?
No, I mean like a boyfriend, a lover. I reach out again, but this time TJ twists away from me and starts to back the way we came from. I follow him.
What, how come?
I can see his rapid breathing, his wide eyes like a cornered animal. I feel myself getting angrier. What do you mean, how come? Do I need to explain it to you? TJ keeps backing up and what I see is fear in his eyes. I don't understand it at all. He starts to turn around, but I grab his arm.
Hey!
You flirt with me all fucking week and now you're asking why? What the fuck are you talking about?
Chase, let me go.
He tries to pull away weakly, but I yank him forward so hard his teeth clack together in front of my face. He gasps. You make eyes at me across the table at the diner while we're doing yard work at Jansen's house and you don't get why? Why the hell am I getting so angry?
Let me go.
TJ's still whispering, but it's getting louder. So you were just leading me on? I feel my voice break as it rises in volume as well. What is happening? Why am I doing this? Is this a dream? Were you leading me the fuck on, TJ? I see tears brimming in TJ's eyes and he looks away from me like a kid I've just got caught doing something wrong. Do I need to tell you again? TJ, I fucking love you. I've known it since I picked you up from college. Listen to me. I pull him closer, but as I do, he lashes out. I see a flash of light. The next thing I know, TJ's escaped my grasp. My paw is still stuck in the air, so I watch the lynx disappear to the trees. Soon the sound of footsteps fade as well, and I'm left alone in the deathly quiet forest. I stare for a long time, listening to the nothingness, maybe waiting for TJ to come back, or for Julian to come up the path and beat me up. But nothing happens. I don't know how long I stand there, but then when I look up I see the sun has finally set. I numbly lift the camera in my other hand, still holding onto it like I was when I kissed TJ. Slowly I walk up to the bag and kneel down, putting the camera away. That's when I feel the nope of a neck prickle. Oh, nape. I was looking at it going, that doesn't sound right. That's when I feel the nape of my neck prickle. TJ? I look back hopefully, but the path is empty. The forest though. The trees and branches and leaves outline the path just before it curves out of sight, just 15 feet ahead of me. There's the shape of the trees, the shape of the legs, arms, torso, and maybe even a head. The shadowy figure seems to blend into the leaves, almost melting into the twilight. I blink hard, but when I open my eyes, the figure is still there, unmoving, unchanged. That's when I realised, even though I'm holding my breath, I can still hear breathing. It comes from the direction of the shape, even though it doesn't move at all. It looks like a painting. Slowly I stand up. It doesn't move. I start to walk forward, and that's finally when it changes. It starts to melt back into the trees, but the branches and leaves don't move. It moves through them, and as I reach the bend in the path, it fades into nothing. But the breathing continues. I look around finally and see that it's gotten dark to the point that I can barely make anything out.
Everything that you see is twisted from what it once was.
But what is it?
It was something once, just like I was, but nothing here is obligated to make sense to you.
But what does it want?
What does anything here want? The only thing you know for sure is that it's evil.
And just like that, I'm running up the rest of the path, feeling as if the branches are clawing at me, trying to pull me back into the forest. And still the breathing continues just over my shoulder, growing ragged from my own, with my own following me, chasing me. I feel like it closing in on me, gasping, taking robotic tone as if someone's taking their last breath through my phone. And I'm the one on the other end listening to the crackling breath hisses out, rising up into the screech of static and noise, and I break through the trees, landing in the ditch and jamming 2 fingers in the process as I throw my paws out to catch myself. I don't care though. I scramble out of the ditch, gasping for breath. I look up, hoping to see TJ, Julie, and even Janice, but no one's there. Both cars are gone. I'm left alone on the road in the silence and increasing darkness. I walk back to the motel alone. I hope to see Julian's truck in the parking lot when I get there, but it isn't. Instead, there's typical 2 or 3 cars along with my own. I still have hope as I wait myself to the door. I'm awake to the door. Maybe TJ will be in the bathroom taking a shower. Maybe he's already asleep. Maybe he'll be awake and we can just forget what happened, chat until late, order a pizza like we did at Carl's house. But as I press the keycard to the lock and it flashes green, I open the door. I don't see TJ at all. It's dark and empty. And that's finally when I realise that TJ has left me as well. My mind is blank as I walk through the motel room, only then realising that I left the camera in the forest. I don't care though, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. I curl up in the bed and cry for a long time. I don't care how loud I am. I'm sure if anyone hears it, they've heard worse. The employee at the front desk probably hears it every week because that's just the way this town is. I fall asleep. When I wake up, I can't move. I don't care though. It doesn't matter anymore. Even though I know better, I open my eyes. Weirdly enough, the motel is as I left it, dishevelled with the lights on. Nothing horrible at all until I hear footsteps at the base of my bed. I brace myself for it but keep my eyes open. I don't know why, I guess it just feels like I'm punishing myself for what I did to TJ. I lay there on my side, curled up and waiting as the footsteps make their way around the bed. I don't know what I expected my mind to conjure up. Maybe the demon in the forest, the evil electric creature that breathed in my ear as I ran for it, jumping from tree to tree behind me. What I didn't expect is the small, old Kit Fox with a button-up shirt and a tie. I watch as he sets the card down on the little table next to my bed. I get up a moment to see the silver ring on his finger and a warm black claws. Then he picks up the bottle from the table that isn't there and takes a swig from it. Then he moves over to the closet rod? Yeah, closet rod. Clothes that I don't recognise hanging from it. He's got a card of some kind in his paws. He starts to tie it to the rod on the other end and got tied around his neck. I know what he's doing, and now I only close my eyes, but something seems to hold them open. This is too real. The fox braces himself against the wall, and I see his face clearly, kind, weary, hopeless. And then he sits, but he doesn't completely sit because the cord just pulls taut and he's left with his legs on a loose slant on the ground. I see his eyes bulge, turning red at the same time those eyes meet mine. I think he sees me. I gasp and sit up in the bed, but he doesn't disappear. He lingers. It's only when he starts to go into convulsions that he begins to fade away. I hug my knees, my back pressed against the headboard of the bed as the fox continues to stare at me, then completely disappears. It was real. It was real.
Was.
Something's different. Something's wrong with the air. The sound from the bathroom makes me look over at the closed door. Something's in there. Automatically I get up. It's like I'm not in control of my body anymore. It's like I'm still in a dream even though I know I'm not. I get to the door and stand there a little while listening to the breathing inside. Then I open it. I stand there for a while staring in. The light from the room pours into the bathroom but isn't enough to show me anything out of the ordinary. I feel it though. There's an energy in there pulling me in. Slowly I step inside looking around, my heart hammering in my chest. I'm not scared. Not anymore. Sort of anticipation instead of fear, like I've been waiting for this ever since I got to Echo. I don't know if I believe in ghosts now, but I know what's happening in here is real. I wait, feeling the cold tiles of the bathroom against the pads of my feet. I'm not sure how long I stand there in complete silence. It could be anywhere from 1 minute to 10, and it's when I finally get an answer.
Oh. Close the door. Close the door.
I don't hear anything, but I feel it. I feel it coming from my left. I look but don't see anything. This isn't like the other times when I'd hear him inside my head. Now the voice inside me is hiding right now, so even he's afraid of this. Still I sense it. Even though I start to feel that fear again, I reach out for the door.
Close it, close the door.
For a brief moment I have a sudden realization where I am, what I'm doing and what's happening. That's not enough to stop me. There's a haze over my mind over everything, like I'm in a deep, dark dream that I can't come up from. I think I've lost my mind, or I'm dead. Either way, it doesn't matter anymore. I push the door closed, not fully, just let a crack of light in so that so that through the mirror I can see the outline of the fur on the left side of my head. But as I'm looking at that, I start to get the feeling that it's not me in the mirror. I look shorter, smaller, something's wrong with my face. I can almost see what looks like the corner of my mouth stretched all the way across my jaw. Just like I saw in the diner bathroom 5 days ago? I don't know, it feels so long. But it's then I realise the presence. I feel it's coming from this thing in the mirror. We stare at each other for a long time, the fear rising and rising until it's almost overwhelming. My feet won't move, my mind won't reason with what's happening. I'm in a nightmare.
This is real.
The mirror whispers at me. I see the grotesque mouth move and the raspy whispering words. Slowly I move a little closer to the mirror, ducking my head down a bit, reaching up to the top of my cheek where I see the widened gash of my mouth. The reflection does the same, but when I touch my face I feel smooth fur, even with fingers in the mirror brush against the opening. What's happening? I ask myself when the reflection responds.
I'm actually struggling to read this. Let me try and get this bigger. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. No, I can probably do it. I just need to get
Yeah, it's a kind of
it on
weird
full
font.
screen.
Yeah.
What's been happening for days? What I was supposed to happen to everyone else in this town, but you stopped it.
What?
Coming back here with your secret. Almost started it, but now that everyone is about to find out,
What are you talking about?
this town might actually survive if they find out.
Find out what? I bring both paws up and press against the sides of my face, as if to cover up the gaping mouth.
You know what?
I squint at the reflection, trying to figure out why it looks so familiar. Sydney? It's a raspy rustling sound as I see the thing in the mirror shake, its head twitching from side to side, far too fast to be anything of this world. I take a step back, dread rising in my chest. No, this is supposed to be over. I'm not supposed to see things anymore.
You always knew they were wrong. You always knew that you missed that. I really can't read this.
It's fine, I can do this one. Always
Yeah?
knew that what you saw was real, nothing normal about this. But it's not me seeing things, and no, seeing things again, that's got me feeling the way I do. No. What secret are you talking about? Again, the raspy sound of rustling leaves sounding old and forgotten. That's what it feels like I'm talking to. Something old, monolithic, ancient. You don't need me to tell you. I grasp my shirt, twisting the fabric in my paws, feeling like I might panic. I might go insane. Already insane. But how is anyone going to find out? No one knows. You know that's not true. Who was responsible for the cruel joke? I swallow hard. Someone knows. No, that was something else that they don't know. It was a stupid prank on me to make me look bad, to ruin our vacation. Vacation? Is that what I'm on right now? That thought is foolish and you know it. It was definitely foolish. And you know who it was, and after what you did to him. I see myself pinning the lizard in the parking lot, holding back the pounding in his face into nothing. He's going to tell everyone. No. I hear myself whine, feeling like a child, like a small creature in the mirror. Yes, unless... I wait, feeling tears well up my eyes, knowing that my life is about to change forever. The silence drags on and on until I finally break it. What? I can help you keep the secret. I wait for a while longer. The reflection stays quiet. I get the sense that time's going faster than I perceive it, my legs aching from standing here rigidly on the cold tile floor. Help me? I can tell you what you can do to keep things the way they are. I feel a small ray of hope pierce the towering cloud of impending doom in my chest. How? There's a dark pause, a moment that marks an in-between, between what was and what's about to become. I know things can't truly stay the way they are. They never do. Another split in my life, just like what's happened years ago. Finally the thing speaks and I hear exactly what I expect.
Do the same to the lizard.
I swallow, feeling myself resisting, rejecting the idea.
Unless you want them all to know your secret.
But how do I know it was him? He sounded like he had no idea what we were doing.
He is deceptive, a liar. His entire family has always been.
But I can't if I don't know for sure.
Show him the note. You'll see his reaction, the truth.
My paw drifts to my pocket, feeling the gentle outline of the folded paper. Who are you? The rustling leaves me again, and I realise that while this might be Sydney, there's something more than Sydney. It doesn't answer me. We stand there for a long time again. Minutes, hours, I don't know. Why would you help me? This time the answer is immediate.
This town needs secrets.
Why? Again, no answer. I stand there for what feels like hours. As I continue to stare into the small disfigured creature, I get the feeling that it's starting to move independent from me. That thought scares me and I lift my paws. I'm relieved to see the reflection do the same, but as soon as I touch my face, I feel the corner of my mouth stretched up to my ears. In a sudden burst of panic, I lunge for the light switch and flip it on. I'm stunned as I bathe into blinding yellow light and I have to shut my eyes for a moment before opening them. I see myself in the mirror as I've always been, staring back blearily. My eyes are bloodshot, and my figure seems to sag with exhaustion. I stand there for a while, feeling my mind cloud up even more as I go over what happened. Then a violent shiver comes over my body like I'm suffering a high fever. I feel sick. My skin is sensitive, my joints are sore. After a moment I move back into the motel room. I can see the light outside the curtains. How long was I in there? I must have been for hours. I don't care though. Still shivering, I head for the closest bed, sliding under the covers and my clothes and laying my head on the pillow. I realise that this is Jenna's bed and I can smell her perfume along with the faint smell of fox musk on the pillow. Where was she again? I can't even remember through the haze in my head. I think I fell asleep. I'm not sure. A sudden knock on the door makes me jump. I curl up tighter under the covers, hoping that I just dreamed it or whatever outside just goes away. Then the knock again, followed by Leo's voice. Ada, you in there? I cringe, squeezing my eyes shut, having completely forgotten about him. Why had he chosen to show up now? I still lay there for a moment. He yells again, which makes me jump out of the bed, cringing in pain in my joints. Groggily, I stumble to the door, leaning against it for a moment, and I feel lightheaded, trying to gather myself. Finally, I fix my face into a tired smile before opening the door. Leo stands there, his ears perked, eyes wide as if he hadn't expected me to open the door. Oh, hey Chase, you alright? He reaches out to rest a paw on my shoulder, looking me over. Yeah, I was just up all night doing my project. I left it until the last minute. I gave him a sheepish grin. Leo clicks his tongue at me. Isn't that due tomorrow? Aren't you driving home all day today? I shrug. I'll be fine. If you say so, Water. He continues to stare at me with a look of concern.
I said, hello, Juniper.
Alright.
She's
What's up?
jumped up to say hi.
Well, I guess I'm sorry I haven't been around most of this week. I guess I was just being a bit unfair to you. I racked my brain for the reason why Leo's apologising to me or why exactly he'd been unfair to me. I guess I've just been a bit down because you weren't talking to me as much as I thought you would. Oh. Had Leo been avoiding me all week? I hadn't even noticed. Oh, well that's alright. I was wondering why you hadn't texted me. I'd been missing you. Ah. Leo's ears flatten and I see a look of shame across his face. You could have texted me too, you know. I didn't want to bother you. I could tell you weren't all that happy. Leo lets out a big sigh, letting his shoulders drip. I'm sorry, Chase. I guess I just felt kind of shitty after what Flynn did, and then you went kind of quiet. I scratched the back of my head. Yeah, I can't deny that you kind of turned the vibe of the whole trip, but I really should have called you afterwards. I'm sorry too. My dad did call me into work every day, so I guess it would have been hard to work things out anyway. That sounds familiar. He's still making you work weekends too? Usually, yeah. Leo looks past my shoulder into the motel room. Anyway, when I texted Jenna, it sounded like something was wrong. I guess she's already back in Pueblo? I shrug. Yeah, I think the tension got to her in the end and she took off early. She was complaining about Flynn the entire time she was here. Leo lets out another big sigh. Great. He's been acting strange too. Oh yeah? I certainly hope the wolf isn't going to ask me to be let in. Yeah, driving around, acting all shady. Actually made me want to visit you, see if everything's alright. Carl isn't even responding to me. I'm good, just tired and stressed out. Is Tej here? He's actually hanging out with an old friend in Peyton right now. Once he comes back, we're going to start driving back. He was actually in the middle of a nap. Oh, sorry. You want to get back to that then? I smile guiltily. Yeah, that'd probably be the best. Don't want to nod off on the road, you know. Of course. Leo looks at me hesitantly. Listen, I know this is probably going to be our last time getting together before we all split off, but you want to try this again in the future, maybe over the summer when you don't have school to worry about? Just feel we left a lot unsaid. Doesn't have to be everyone. Maybe this time I'll just tell Flynn not to come around. I smile back at Leo. Yeah, that sounds good. I think it'd be a great time. Leo smiles back, looking genuinely relieved and happy. That's good to hear. I'll make sure Dad knows I want that week off. Good luck with that. I'll let Tej and Jenna know. Thanks, Chase. Leo stands up for a moment, then steps forward to give me a hug. I hug back tightly before letting him go. I stand in the doorway until Leo's van pulls out of the parking lot, heading in the direction of the highway, probably on his way to work. Once he's gone, I deflate, feeling like it's one conversation that's been equal to hours of hard labour. Still watching him go, I get a sense of sadness, like it was the last time we'd see each other the way we are now. I stumble back into bed, almost falling before I catch myself on the edge with both paws. I stare at the square patterns in the comforter, feeling a little sick. For a moment I hear whispers coming from the dark bathroom. I don't even look up to see if I can see the figure in the mirror. I wish I closed the door, but I'm not going near that place again. So I'll just curl back up in bed, facing away from the bathroom, closing my eyes. I'd gotten bored of skipping rocks pretty quickly. Leo was just so good at it that he could skip them over water 5 times before they sunk. Even Jenna could do it at
baby
least 3.
Jenna. Look at baby Jenna. Look at the ears.
That's the definition of someone who grow into their ears.
Yep, so much so, except she never does. Fennec foxes.
Mine would split once and sink like the stones they were. After Leo laughed at my last one, I glared and decided to go farther down the beach where no one else could go.
Also, I like how the kid version of them has a more line art cartoonish style, while the adult version is more realistic. That's a nice touch. I appreciate it, and I recognise what they were maybe trying to do there. Also, Leo is adorable. I want to hug him.
Hey,
I
you know
want
in
to
the
hug
way.
him and play fetch and tell him he's a good boy.
Hey, you know in the way of the rocks, you're gonna get hit. Leo telling me to be careful and maybe more angry, and I cut through the water far below the surface so they couldn't see me. I go back in the direction where we came from, wondering if Sydney and Toby were in the shallows. I'd may be able to surprise them. When I come around the curve on the beach, I see that they are in fact in the shallows, but I can tell immediately that something isn't right. Toby's flat on his stomach in the water. Sydney is sitting on his back. Toby just has enough room that his head barely sneaks out of the water. As I put my head up, I can hear a cat sobbing. Sydney isn't saying much at all. He's got a strange look on his face, the look that I've seen before, like that time he'd covered Toby's mouth and nose when he had him pinned down so we had to pull him apart. That same look when he'd thrown a dirt clod with a rock into it at Lynx's head. That look was determined, almost empty, but completely fascinated with what he was doing. Almost like he liked it. Something about the situation scared me though. The other times we'd been there to help separate them, or stop Sydney from going too far, but now it looks like he was trying to kill the cat. Every now and then a wave would slosh over Toby's mouth and nose, and he'd yell and struggle frantically, begging Sydney to get off. But Sydney just sat there, enamoured by his own cruelty. He was going to kill Toby, just like he killed his dad. My vision blurs as I go under and speed towards them. I leap out of the water and knock Sydney off the Lynx as hard as I can. Sydney falls back in the water quickly before pushing himself back up. I see the look of horror on his face, not at all what I'm about to do to him, but because he got caught doing something bad. Not just something bad, but something weird and scary, and something that no one should ever do, not even if you're a kid. I don't think I could ever explain to him why he liked doing it. That took imprints itself in my mind. TJ runs off. I don't know where to. I try to get Sydney to tell me what he was doing for a while. I don't remember what exactly happens, but I get angry. I throw a punch. It misses and hits him in the throat instead. He lets out a hard cough, reaching up with both paws to clutch at his neck. He manages to stumble to his feet without using his paws. His lucha libre swim, trunks wetly clinging to his legs. I don't give him a chance to stand for long. I tackle him again and grab his head, shoving it underwater. He scrambles frantically. I feel a dark satisfaction in my chest all the way that I can hear his screams for the bubbling of his exhaled breath. I finally let him go after a good 10 seconds and he comes up, gagging and choking. He starts to scramble away on his paws and knees before getting up. I see snot hanging from his nose and chin as he stumbles, snorting out water, and I can tell he's about to cry.
You tried to kill me. I'm telling Leo. You tried to murder me.
So that was it. For some reason, the way he immediately tried to put that on me. It was then I believed he was trying to kill TJ. Maybe not even on purpose, maybe just waiting for it to accidentally happen. I don't know. But now he's going to make everyone think I'm a murderer, even though we all know he did it. He stumbles away and I go after him, grabbing him.
He's trying to kill me.
His voice so weak, and so is his body, especially in the water. I poke my head up through the waves in front of others. Otter, move, you're gonna hit your head. I shrug my shoulders, dipping under the water again so I can hug myself and tremble alone.
Oh, boy.
Again, time passes in a way I'm not familiar with. 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours pass when my phone starts to ring. There's something ominous about it, something I can't explain, but I feel deep in my bones like the aches in my joints. I open my eyes and see the phone is just a foot in front of my face, vibrating over and over. I see the blank contact image with the screen, the name Julian under it. For a moment I wonder why I have his number, why do I have his name attached to it. Then I remember it's because we exchanged numbers during the scavenger hunt, so that I could call him at the meetup. Slowly I reach up and press the green button to answer. I raise it to my ear, waiting, only getting silence on the other end. Hello?
Hey, Chase.
Julian's voice sounds hesitant, like he's not really sure what he's doing. Like he doesn't know me. Yeah?
Hey, so something happened that I thought you, or at least someone, should know about.
I slowly sit up, the blanket falling away from my shoulders. What's up?
Well, TJ spent the night over at my place after what you did.
Julian's voice takes over a hard edge, and for a moment I'm not sure what he's talking about. Then I remembered the forest and what happened there. For some reason For some reason the thought didn't create that horrible empty guilt I'd felt yesterday. In fact, I feel nothing.
Anyway, I got him a bus ticket back to CCU, and while we were hanging out until departure time, which was an hour ago now.
Yeah?
Well, that lizard guy showed up, Flynn. He showed up in my house. I don't know how he knew where I lived, but I think Janice told him.
My heart skips a beat.
Anyway, he just wanted to talk to TJ, and eventually TJ told me that I could just wait inside, so I did. And after a while, when I looked, they were gone.
Gone?
Yeah, so was his truck. I'm pretty sure TJ went with him, but I don't know. They were both acting really strange, and I don't really feel good about it. TJ won't respond to my texts either.
I see.
So, since your number is the only one I have from your friend group, I thought I should let you know, so you can let the others know too.
Alright, I'll do that.
Alright.
There's a pause, but I'm already getting up, looking for my keys.
I'll probably check things out myself before my shift today. You know where Flynn lives?
I could tell the Buck doesn't really trust me with his information, and why would he? I don't care though. Yeah, he's on Shefford Street. Janice will be able to point you where it is for you, but I'm heading over now.
Let me know if you find anything out.
I will, later.
Bye.
Feel my heart rate picking up speed as I finally find my keys under the backpack on the table. I snatch them up and jog out of the motel, the heat of the afternoon sun coming over me in a wave. I realise then how late it is. It's been in the motel for nearly a full day, but to me it felt like only a few hours, if that. I should be on the highway right now, if not already back in Pueblo. But I realise that none of that matters now. As I sit down in the oven-like heat of my car, I see it staring at me from the back seat. I'm not afraid of it, at least not now. It means that I'm on the right track, I think. But I'm doing what I was meant to do. I know where Flynn and TJ are. He probably thinks it's the best place to get the truth out of TJ. But his truck sits there like a small parking lot alone, gleaming like the setting sun. I pull up right next to him and look inside. Empty. I park and shut off the engine, jumping out and jogging towards the faint trail through the sagebrush. I know exactly where to go. Instead of turning right where we did yesterday to get the boulder, I take a left. I haven't been on this part of the beach in over a decade, not since it happened. I know this is the right direction though, and soon enough I see the bend in the beach that turns into the shallows where we've played so many times. I also see the odd set of tracks leading in that direction. Flynn's footprints, not hard to recognise with their long clawed toes, but there's another pattern next to them. They aren't footprints, but drag marks, like Flynn has been dragging something next to him. I pick up the pace and start to run, breath catching in my throat, the feeling of not being able to turn back looming over me like a dark fog. The water and sand around me is starting to tinge a soft red with the setting sun. For a moment I start to wonder what would happen if I stop. What if I turn back instead of turning this corner? I know that my life would turn out very, very differently if I do. That thing in the mirror, the town, it told me so. But I feel like I'm on a set of train tracks cutting through the desert with no alternative path to speak of. And I've been on this track ever since I decided I need to protect TJ. As I turn the corner I see them immediately. TJ is sitting on the beach, his knees drawn up to his chest as he stares downward. Flynn is standing over TJ's paws and his hips looking down at the cat. It looks like he's been thrown in there by the lizard and finally feel rage replace anticipation with fear. It's finally going to happen and now I want it. I want to.
Hey!
Flynn immediately whirls round, eyes wide as he spots me sprinting towards him. Takes a step back as I get closer, but I skid to stop 10 feet away, glaring out with my paws clenched into fists. What the hell are you doing? I scream at him, wanting to let him know just how pissed I am. It feels good finally not being afraid or worried what's going to happen, because now I know there's no other option. Flynn looks taken aback a moment, looking me up and down before he straightens up. He hasn't forgotten what happened between us yesterday, and I can tell he's afraid of me.
Get the fuck out of here, Chase. This isn't about you.
You fucking bet it is. I look at TJ. He's gone back to staring at the ground, expression vacant. What are you doing to him?
I'm not doing anything to him except asking him some questions.
About?
You know exactly what about. He's trying to confirm your secret.
Get away from him. I say each word with deliberation, taking a few steps closer to the lizard. Flynn steps back again, but only with one foot. He doesn't back away further.
You stay the fuck away from me, Jason. What the hell have you been doing this whole week?
Flynn seems to grow a little more confident with that. What do you mean? I stop and cross my arms, waiting.
What they asked yesterday after what happened to Carl. I think I owed a fucking explanation.
I feel the anger rise up even more in my chest. You want an explanation after the shit you've been pulling? Flynn once again looks taken aback at my anger.
The hell are you talking about?
My paw moves to my pocket. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That fucked up scavenger hunt you sent us on. That you started with Carl. Flynn gasps at me. Sorry, gapes at me.
What?
I feel some resolution dissolve as the lizard's face looks completely bewildered.
He's lying.
Anger swells once again. Quit fucking with me. Quit fucking lying to me. I know what you did. I know what you think happened. Flynn steps forward.
Jace, get the fuck out of here. This isn't about you. Teacher's telling me what happened.
I looked in at TJ again at that vacant stare. What did he tell you?
Leave. This isn't about you.
Flynn walks up again. Flynn walks up to me, giving me a hard shove in the chest. I stumble back. Really? I feel my paw reaching into my pocket as if of its own accord. I grasp the note, even though my nerves fail me as I'm pulling it out.
It seems to happen on its own.
And then what the hell is this? I unfold the note, ripping the old paper in the process. But if it's intact enough when I present it in front of the lizard's face, Flynn's brow furrows in confusion for a moment before he takes it roughly from his paws. He stares at it, eyes scanning the page as if looking at it from all angles. Finally his eyes flick up and look at me.
What the fuck is this?
He whispers hoarsely. I look straight back at him, waiting for the expression of familiarity, the guilt, the knowledge of the piece of paper is his own doing. But instead of what the mirror promised, I get a shock and confusion instead. Just like I feel my determination break down. It was as if something had been driving me to this moment. The cloud cover my brain breaks for a moment. For a moment things are getting clear. I'm left in a daze. I don't...
What is this?
His voice turns into a scream. Such a horrible sound that I stumble back. He holds the paper up showing me, and I stare at it as if I've never seen it before. Unlike the other notes, this one is a crude drawing. On the far left of the page, a small stick figure with a lynx's ears is kneeling on the beach, surrounded by clams and starfish. He's covering his face, tubes falling to the sand below. Extending out from the beach, poorly drawn waves spread across the top of the page representing the lake. From far below ways, two figures are connected near the bottom of the page. One has an X for eyes and legs and arms splayed out with tiny bubbles coming from his mouth. Below that figure, another sits below him, grinning mischievously, holding a drowned stick figure down by his tail. As if the picture wasn't descriptive enough, words and arrows label the characters. Toby sitting on the beach, Sydney dead in the water, Chase holding him down. I've looked at the drawing so many times before, but now I have Flynn to be the one to show it to me. But he had to be the one to draw this. Who else could have done it? Here he was, standing there in a state of shock, just like me. But I could see his expression very quickly morphing into fury. All my plans to confront him, to figure out how he found out or thrown out the window, because he just found out. I'm completely unprepared, and conveniently the presence that spurred me on has left as well. And it's only now that I realise how stupid this all was. It's like I've been tricked. Chase. Flynn is walking towards me. His expression is like nothing I've seen before. Chase. I can see in his eyes what he's about to do. I back away stumbling, and that's when he rushes, tackling me to the ground and crushing me into the hard, sharp rocks underneath. Unlike yesterday, all my strength and confidence has abandoned me. It's like whatever has been driving me has left me right at this moment, taking several steps back to watch. It's like it wanted this to happen all along. Flynn's fists find my face. First one on the right side, the other on the left. Each one brings in a flash of light to my vision, and at that moment all senses leave me. It's kind of nice in a way, like I don't have to be present for the horror that I brought on myself. After a few more punches come my way, the impacts, the earthquakes in my head, but I don't feel any pain. Instead they leave me feeling stunned, like I've been electrocuted. I can feel blood pouring from my nose like a faucet though, and as soon as it fills my mouth, that familiar metallic taste. You fucking piece of shit, you think you can just play with me like that? His strong big hands find my neck and start to squeeze. Through blurred vision I can see him above my eyes filled with tears, glaring down at me with a rage that I didn't think was possible. You little shit, you won't get away with this shit this time. I hear the rustling of leaves again, my reflection, Sydney, the town, whatever it is, laughing at me. Vaguely I wonder if Flynn had been spurned on by it too.
We're puppets.
Nothing seems real right now. What's happening to me? To Flynn? What's happening between us? It seems impossible. But the breath that's stuck in my throat is very real, and I start to see stars and blackness begin to cloud my vision. After things I've done, I guess I deserved it. I guess this is an appropriate way to go out.
Flynn,
A soft voice coming from the distance.
it was me. I did it.
Hands come away from my throat and I take in one massive breath like I'm coming up from the water after being under for far, far too long. Spit and blood go down my throat and into my lungs. I roll over, letting out a great cough, spraying the rock in front of my face with dark drops of blood. What? I watch blood drip to the flat rock in steady rhythm, my nose having to breathe extra hard through my mouth because of it.
I said I did it. It was an accident. I pushed him out into the water and he drowned.
I grab the rock, stumbling to my feet, feeling the old anger return.
He's going to kill Toby, stop him.
I stumble unsteadily to my feet and turn to see the lizard with his back to me approaching TJ.
He will never leave Toby alone, just like Sydney.
I stumble after them, hands tightening around the rock, the back of Flynn's head in my sight.
What did you say? But you can stop it for good. Break the cycle.
I'm a few steps away from Flynn when I swing, bringing down his head as hard as I can. The sound is awful. Immediately Flynn bends over, screaming in pain, his paws immediately come to clutch the back of his head. I swing again, this time glancing off the top of his head, more of my power robbed by the poor angle. Flynn turns around to me then, still crouched low, and tries to tackle me. I stay on my feet for the most part, but I'm pushed back several feet as I grab on his back for support. I feel the cold water on my feet. That's when I grab the lizard under the armpits and start to pull us both out further. Flynn doesn't seem to realise what's happening until the water's up to her knees. He stands up straight and I can see the blood running down his face from his head. He's glaring at me, expression wild, gaze clouded just like mine. He takes a swing at me. It lands on my jaw. Though my head is snapped to the side and a flash fills my vision, I am able to grab that paw and swing him out further into the lake. The lizard stumbles in the shallows, standing up waist deep, and that's when I throw myself at him with everything I've got. I tackle him into the water and we're both submerged. I feel the change in Flynn's demeanour. The change is that as he realises he's gone from fighting for the truth, to a fight for his life. Claws come out and I scratch my arms, but ignore it. The cold of the water numbing any pain that I might have felt. I kick us out further into the lake, my powerful tail and body coming into play, doing what I was built to do. I know I knocked the breath out of Flynn when I barreled into him, so he doesn't have much time before he needs another breath. I'm not going to give it to him. I thrust us both into the water, downward against the rocks and sand below us. He grasps at me, kicking with his feet. I catch a glimpse of his face then. It's not angry anymore, or clouded. Instead, he stares at me with shock and utter disbelief. I'm killing him, and he realizes it. He also realizes the truth then. I see it in his eyes. What he wanted to know for the past decade, he realizes in the last minutes of his life. He kicks me with his feet, his movements become more desperate. His paws move to my neck, trying to choke me out, but it's useless. I already have his breath. I watch bubbles spurt out of his muzzle, and then all at once in a gush. His paws go from strangling to pleading. He grasps me by the shoulders, shaking, tugging, looking into my eyes. I'm relentless. I'm that feeling that I'm not able to turn back and too strong. His muzzle opens, trying to breathe, but only taking in water. His thrashing turns up a notch, scratching my legs with his claws as he kicks even harder. The second burst of desperation only lasts a few seconds though. His movements grow more and more tired, weaker and weaker. He's not looking at me anymore, eyes staring past me towards the glimmering surface above, a place I'll never let him see again. His movements become more sporadic, like he's having convulsions. My instincts tell me to let him go, to end this insanity. My paws don't let me. I close my eyes and press harder. After a few more minutes, I don't feel any more movement. Slowly I let him go, careful not to look at his face. His body stays still for the most part, moving back and forth gently with the current. I kick to the surface, my limbs numb as I break through the cold air above. I pull myself along through the rocks, grasping and feeling incredibly weak for some reason. My stomach lurches and for a moment I feel like I'm going to throw up. I stay there on my hands and knees, staring into the water at my reflection. My face looks blank and for a moment I see a horrible gashed mouth. I know I'm crying, even the lake water is covering it up. What happened? But as I look up I see TJ there. Everything comes together. He's on his knees, staring past me, mouth hanging open. Suddenly I remember exactly why this has all happened and my chest fills with warmth and love for the cat as I stumble towards him on my knees. TJ doesn't seem to notice me as I wrap my arms around him, pressing my face into his chest. I've got you. We're okay. He's not going to hurt you anymore. I breathe carefully into the lynx's ear as I whisper to him, wanting to let him know that everything's going to be okay. Finally I feel him shake his head against my body.
Chase, why?
Because he knew. And he was never going to leave us alone. He tried to kill us. I kiss the top of the cat's head gently, wanting him to know how much I care.
Is he?
He's gone. He just sobs against me, but I only hug him tighter.
Why did you do that?
He reaches out to my left and I look, seeing the paper on the lake. I'm not sure what he's talking about. He's showing Flynn the paper or killing him. I don't know, so I don't answer. Instead I hug him even tighter, whispering into his ear. It'll be just like last time. We won't tell anyone our secret. Something turns ominous in the air. That horrible tension I felt dissipate when we opened the letter returns. This town needs secrets. We'll tell him he tried to kill us, that we had to protect ourselves. TJ leans tiredly against me, his arms limp. We're gonna be okay, just like last time. You can forget. TJ doesn't respond, so I look out to the lake and get a shot because I see Flynn floating there close to the shore. He's face down, back just barely touching the surface. For a moment I wonder if it's not too late, if there's still enough life in him to be revived. But that same feeling holds me back as I cling to TJ instead. We're gonna be okay.
We were manipulated. We keep moving in circles.
That voice comes to the surface for a moment, for the first time sounding stunned. I return to focusing on the lynx, the whole reason why I did any of this in the first place. Whatever happens, I'm going to protect him from the shitty people in the world that want to hurt him. By the time I get to our feet, it's dark and I have to help the lynx along with the sagebrush. He's quiet, robotic-like this was the first time this happened. To help him into my car and get into the driver's seat, quietly pulling out of the parking lot and leaving Flynn's empty truck behind. I watch it all disappear in the rearview mirror, sitting alone under the yellow parking lot light. As we drive along the road, the lynx stares out the window. I can still feel the tension in my arms and legs, making it difficult to keep the wheel steady. My heavy wet clothes stick to the seat. Finally we get to the freeway and I look back again, echoed as a series of tiny lights insignificant on the desert landscape. It seems absurd that the place where all that horror happened, where all that horror still is.
Chase.
I snap out of my daydream looking over at the Lynx, his eyes glowing gently in the fading light.
After we're done with wherever we're going,
The police station?
yeah. Can you give me a ride back to CCU? I miss my bus.
DJ smiles sheepishly. I blink, wondering what to say. Does he not realise that I realise what he's doing, what's happening? Just like last time. I clear my throat. Oh yeah, definitely I'll give you a ride for sure.
Thanks, Chase.
DJ smiles at me and goes back to looking out the window. I wonder if he'll forget what happened, like what happened with Sydney. I hope that I can. We drive off into the dark desert, towards the soft glow of Peyton in the distance. 5 years later.
I'm slightly confused about how
Okay.
Flynn let himself get killed like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Gila monster and they're incredibly venomous.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he not just, bite Chase?
Well, Gila
Like,
monsters are
literally, he
interesting
could've
because their
saved
venom
himself
is
by
more of
single
the
bite.
bleeding kind, isn't it?
Hang on.
Like, it's not like a neurotoxin or something like that. From what I know, it just makes you bleed extra, like it's like a blood thinning one. Let me Google it.
I've got my head's on, but everyone's saying that is that not one that just makes you bleed more rather than actually does venom?
I'm Googling it.
I mean, to humans,
she's Googling
yes,
it.
but to other animals, they're pretty bad. As far as I know, anyway. I might be wrong, but it's
Googling.
just-
Googling.
There's no recorded deaths by Gila monster bite.
No recorded
There isn't
death.
an anti-venom because there's no demand.
Like, for humans.
And they don't use their venom to ward off predators.
They don't use their venom to ward off predators.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find out, like, exactly what the venom does. So that's pioneer beliefs. Toxicity. It's not normally fatal for healthy adult humans. No reports of fatalities have been confirmed after 1930. They can bite quickly and may not
The only
release
reason
the
they're
victim
not
without
as deadly is
intervention.
because the amount of venom they make. The venom is incredibly strong, but they make a very small amount of it.
The Gila monster can bite quickly, but if bitten, the victim can attempt to fully submerge the lizard in water, pry the jaws off with a stick or knife, or physically yank the lizard free.
Did you say if they bite, they just submerge the lizard in water?
That's from the Wikipedia page.
Fucking hell. The Wikipedia page
So
is like
fucked!
the Wikipedia page says if it bites, you can submerge it fully in water.
So they can cause hemorrhage in
well,
internal
that'll at least,
organs,
explain
bulging of the
that.
eyes, helothermy, which causes lethargy, partial paralysis of the limbs, and hypothermia in rats. So yeah, it seems to be like a semi-muscular, like blood thinny sort of one. Yet we don't actually know a lot about their venom, it turns out, because it's not that dangerous and people just haven't looked into it.
Fully submerged in water.
Yeah, I can't get over that. That's on the Wikipedia page under venom, by the way.
Fucking
if you
hell.
want to see proof of that. Yeah, are you okay, by the way?
God. Fucking hell.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It was a very. I mean, the fact that it was basically a kind of, again, the sort of cyclic nature, I guess. Cyclical nature.
It's a tough ending. You can see why this route in particular made the writer need to leave and do something else for a bit.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Hang on. I just have to bring this up. Hang on. Just so you can see this in an actual thing. If I put display capture on. This is Gila monster.
They're gorgeous.
If you go down to venom delivery, it does say, if bitten, the victim may fully submerge the lizard in water.
I Wikipedia? Um, that's a bit fucked.
It's a bit hilarious. But at least it answers one question, but
Oh my
it's
God.
still hilarious. Anyway.
I can't get over it. Yeah, like just from googling, it seems that like their venom isn't that much to write home about,
No,
and you're more likely to
venom
get
also does?
lacerations from them.
Hang on, what was that, Mia?
What the venom does to other animals?
It does hypo thing in rat, it like makes hypothermia in rats and stuff like that.
It causes a rapid drop in blood pressure and internal bleeding.
So it probably wouldn't have done anything.
At least not short term. Like they're not king cobras.
Paralysis, hypothermia.
Alright. Well, shall we finish this bit?
Yeah.
Do you remember who did Devon and who did?
I can't remember.
Alright, do you want Devon or the other one?
I'll do Devon.
Okay.
Seriously, this is going to be such a fucking good time. You'll be glad you came.
The big grizzly bear nudges the coyote playfully, almost knocking the canine to the passenger window. Ow, keep your paws... well, let's do a different voice from that. Ow, keep your paws on the wheel, or your paw at least. This road ain't in great shape. Cameron eyes the half-eaten burger and the bared equally giant paw. Dev's other paw casually steers the wheel, elbow resting on the open window. The bear looks happier than he's been in a while, somehow grinning as he chews. The coyote sighs and stares out of his own window, watching the desert landscape fly by. It was nothing like this in his hometown. He found himself wishing he was back amongst the pine forests. Something he'd been wishing since he moved to Pueblo for school. Technically this is a natural habitat, but he found the whole place depressing somehow. Empty and dry and rough.
What you pouting for?
I'm not pouting.
Yeah, you are.
Cameron sighed, deciding to change the subject. So why couldn't Larry go again?
I don't know. It says something about his car breaking down. I think he just flaked though.
Aren't there other haunted places in Pueblo that we could have gone to by, like, the school? The bear shakes his head, letting go of the wheel to crumple the foil that had packaged his sandwich, tossing it into the bag.
Not like Echo, dude. This place is the most haunted town in the entire fucking world.
Cameron sighs once again and suddenly grasps his seat as the car swerves and hard into the smaller road heading towards a big blue lake. What the fuck?
Whoops, sorry, almost missed the turn. Gotta hit Lake Emma before the actual town.
The road quickly ends in a small parking lot, empty and cracked. Why?
Because a lot of shit happened here.
The grizzly hops out the car, making the entire thing tilt sideways as he squeezes his bulk out before reaching back in for the camera bag. Coyote allows himself one last frustrated sigh before he gets out as well. The bear waits for him, reaching out a large padded paw. Cameron takes it, immediately drawn into the tight embrace and a kiss. Coyote tenses up for a moment, then waits until Devon releases him. Can you not do that right after you eat a big greasy hamburger? Cameron makes a show of wiping his lips. Devon rolls his eyes.
No pleasing you, is there?
Nevertheless, the grizzly holds out a paw again and Cameron takes it, the two of them walking towards the faint trail. It's not a pleasant walk, the trail almost obscured by sagebrush and dry vegetation. Once they reach the edge of the lake, Devon has to help the coyote down the rocky terrain. The coyote feels like a child as Devon lifts him down off the boulders onto the beach, and the bear's tree trunk biceps bulging as he does. They stand there a moment, taking in the scenery, then Devon leans over to set the camera bag down. Cameron stands there, looking around in the very unphotogenic at the very unphotogenic lake. So what exactly happened here that you're so interested in? Devon takes off his backwards baseball cap for a moment and smooths his head fur down. He puts it back on and bends over again to take out the camera.
Some people say the lake is haunted too. Some guy got killed here in 2015 according to a few articles I read. Oh, so that's when this takes place.
Ah. Wonderful.
That was self-defense though.
Was that during the whole hysteria thing or whatever? Devon pans the camera towards the length of the lake before stopping on camera. Coyote frowns at being filmed.
No, that was in 2017. Okay.
The bear pans the camera the other way now. Cameron feels himself getting sweaty under the shirt already. Some coyote he was. It's so hot here.
Once we get set ourselves up in the motel, we'll have some shade.
Is it still open?
Ha! Nothing's open. Everything's abandoned now.
We're gonna get arrested for trespassing. The bear finally turns off the camera, leaning to shove it in his bag.
Psh, the cops never come down here. It's too out of the way.
Anything for the views, right?
Hey, my subscribers are gonna love this shit. Now come on, let's get back to the car.
The bear turns and starts scrambling up the rocky boulders, Cameron waiting as he does. That's when the coyote turns around to glance back at the lake one last time, and a lizard lays in the shadows, splayed out, staring at the sky. But he's not staring because his eyes are gone, half of his muzzle missing. What? Yeah, he's not staring because his eyes are gone, half his muzzle missing. Fuck. Cameron jumps back, tripping over the rocks and landing against the sharp edges. The coyote hisses in pain, but fear spurs him on, trying to scramble up the rocks after Devon. The bear's already turned around though, reaching down to pull Cameron up.
Shit, you alright? What happened?
As Cameron clings to the large barrier, looks back, but nothing's there. I don't know. I saw... Devon looks in the same direction, squinting. Cameron stares a while longer, but turns back and shakes his head against Dev's chest. When Cameron looks up at the bear, he's grinning though.
Holy shit, did you see a ghost?
The coyote scowls. What? No, I just thought I saw something. It was a reflection in the water or something. The bear gives him an all-knowing smile. What?
You're gonna be a believer by the end of all this. I know it.
The grizzly hugs him as tight as Cameron frowns, and still looking back at the shadows. It had been so real. Before he can even really collect himself, Devon is pulling him along back to the car. So Flynn becomes a ghost in 2 routes. It's good to know.
Yeah. He is going in circles, it seems. Oh man, TJ's right. Oh, it's a terrible decision picking this one first, I'm not gonna lie.
So, we can finally ask, how do you feel on this now you've seen other ones that told you something else coming into this?
Well, I understand a lot of the small talk a lot more. Because going into it with knowing nothing, and like slowly finding out that the friend died and then he drowned in the lake and TJ was there, and the treasure hunt, and Chase slowly crumbling in on himself and finally killing Flynn. Like, I disliked Flynn a lot more the first time I played it. Because I only knew him from this route. It was only when, like, looking things up about this game, because this route made me not want to play it again alone. And I was like, okay, Flynn makes more sense now. Going back to this route, you have the background knowledge to fully understand Sydney, which makes it a lot more painful. Yeah, none of these kids were okay before or after. Let's be very clear there. They're kids. God, Echo is just a fucking plague. The town itself is just the kind of place that I would run away from immediately. This story is fucked up.
This one is a lot more, I guess, more psychological than the other ones.
I did say this one was psychological horror, didn't I?
Yeah. This one is a lot more of the sort of...
slow descent into madness.
Yeah.
Growing emotional manipulation, gaslighting.
Yeah.
We find out a little bit more about, like, what is actually in the town. Like, the gold in the mine, something in the mine, reflecting the evil of humanity, question mark, back on itself.
Yeah.
But conscious and growing and it needs secrets. This town needs secrets. What the fuck? Everything's going in circles. I'm not okay. Again, the symbol for the game being the anchor bracelet, connecting in on itself like Ouroboros, you know, attaching to itself, trapped like it's. Oh man, the horror in this game is too fucking good. What do you think? Now that we've done 3 rounds.
I'm enjoying it. I think, as I said, I still probably enjoyed Flynn's route of all of them because it's the more my actual style of horror, but I like the fact that they've all got a very different storytelling style.
Yeah.
They've all got different aspects of horror, and they've all got different understandings, and they're still... It's a bit of plastic kitten.
Oh.
So I just ran up to me because I picked a bit of plastic off my desk. But no, I like the fact that they've all got different storytelling, and all the characters are... You can tell that the characters have been well thought out because they are all the same characters in each of the stories. They don't vastly change, which
And the more
happens in
you
a
know
lot
about the
of...
characters, the more their actions make sense, and you
Yes.
can kind of see what they're thinking behind their
as you
actions.
see more of them from different angles, you see that why their character makes those kind of choices and why they're acting this way. So yeah, it's all getting there.
Yeah. What do you think is going on in the town? Have you got any like theories, things that you've noticed? You know, emotional things.
I've I've just noticed that it does seem to be that kind of everything happens on a loop, and a lot of some of the storytelling is things that happen. They've happened again after a certain time. I think TJ's one was much more of that, but it was like, you know, the ending basically being that the Flynn being killed at the end and them reacting in the same way. What you're led to believe is the same way as when they reacted when Sydney died.
Yeah, and the same 2 guys
Yeah,
seeing what's left of him.
yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. How are you feeling emotionally after all of this?
I'm kind of, as I said, treating it very much like reading horror stories, and I'm just kind of grinning and enjoying it because I love this kind of storytelling. I don't feel that mentally affected by it, but then again, I've had so much weird shit happen to me over the years that there's very few things that mentally affect me, but I do love the storytelling. I think the storytelling's done very well. And
it's just quietly engrossing.
Yeah, it's just this like the start of it when we first did the get into the fight point. A lot of the text or sort of dialogue up to that point was very kind of like, yeah, it's just generic story. But after the fight, when it sort of goes down, and the story sort of all changes to a particular style for each path, and it's like this is the style, and you go, well, why is it telling the story this way? Why is this person reacting this way? Oh, that's because of the story is going in this direction. It feels very. It's the dialogue choices and the storytelling style is so defined for each route that it's just really fascinating for me, and I just really enjoy it.
Like the way they use the choices in TJ's route, because you can't change the ending in TJ's route at all.
Yeah.
Like, no way in hell is this relationship going to work out. I saw someone commenting on a YouTube video that TJ and Chase's relationship is so toxic it needs an exclusion zone around it. Which I fully agree with. It is disgustingly horrible.
Yeah.
Like, go to that picture of like TJ and Chase for a second doing the kiss in the forest.
Do we have that picture?
We should
Yes,
have
we
that.
do.
Yes. There we go. I'm fucking fascinated by this picture. The way they use lighting in particular. So, good Christian boy TJ is being pushed into darkness by a gay man trying to kiss him. The homophobic subtext there isn't so much subtext, but it's fucking screaming. I saw someone going into the way they use homophobic stereotypes in Echo to affect a queer reader.
Yeah.
It's not to give the same visceral ew gaze
Yeah.
that it's trying to elicit in a straight audience. It's trying to make you remember your own internalized horrible homophobia,
Yeah.
the emotions you're feeling, the dislike, how this builds up and reflects around, and there's something behind it. Like, internalized homophobia for a gay audience is probably something kind of traumatic that makes you feel like you're running in circles. And I find that fascinating how it fucking uses it.
Yeah.
I know Leo's route has a good helping of this as well. But with TJ in particular, with, you know, sweet little Christian boy, oh boy, it's certainly subtext, like, fuck me, that image.
Yeah.
There's something very horrible about it. These two need to be never near each other ever. The way it uses intrusive thoughts as your choices in this route, and how those intrusive thoughts leaking in slowly become the way Chase actually thinks all the time.
Yeah, just the fact it starts at like that person's beginning to annoy me, and then it just the beast just gets
Worse
bigger
and
and
worse
bigger
and
and
worse.
bigger. Yeah.
And the way it's changing TJ as well, like, he clearly took some advice and is trying to like set boundaries, and how Chase responds to that by getting more protective. I do not like any of it. It's traumatizing in a very unique way. Ooh.
So yeah, this is how we get to each individual day.
Ah, yeah.
Or is this the individual day? Is this the artwork for each individual day? No, this takes us to that point.
Oh, does it?
I think it does. It does.
It does.
Ooh,
Hey.
okay.
That's very useful if we want to go
Oh,
back.
fuck, I did not mean to close the game. I meant just to go back to the menu.
That's okay. I like him as well, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, looking at the time, would you like to start something new tonight, or would you prefer to do it on Wednesday?
I'm willing to go a little bit more with this. I have to go at like 11:30 just after.
Well, I was just thinking we're not going to get... It's coming up for 11 now. That's why I'm wondering, because I don't think we're going to get very far in half an hour. So what I'm maybe thinking of doing is, if you're up for it, we wind up there tonight, and then we start another one on Wednesday, if that'd be alright with you.
Yeah, that works.
Because that way we don't have to worry about doing like 30 minutes of Leo's story, and then this is beginning to get into it. Time to wind up, you know?
Yeah. Because I think Leo has a very slow startup. Like, it slowly builds as a horror with him and gets worse and worse and worse as it goes on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly what kind of like theme, like style it's going for, what subgenre. And from what I remember, it's like doomed tragic lovers kind of vibe. It's got a little bit of that psychological horror, but it's more of like active threat, a person is trying to fucking kill me, thriller slasher movie.
Okay.
But gay and kind of horny. So that's what I remember anyway. And I believe Jenna's more of like a monster movie.
Yeah. Well, Leo's has got 2 routes, yeah?
Both of the last two have 2 routes.
Okay. So the only thing I think I'll probably ask if you can do between now and Wednesday is find out where they branch, just so I know, I make sure I'm saving at the right time.
I know with Leo.
Okay, you know with Leo, that's fine.
I know exactly what that choice is, because apparently every furry under the sun goes for Leo first and is immediately traumatized for life. And they all talk about it. So I know exactly what point you need to save for that one.
Right, okay. Alright.
I don't think it's going to help.
Well, I think the way you described Jenna's one with the point system, it might be something we have to play all the way through.
Yeah,
A second
I
time.
think so. Yeah.
So, yeah. We shall see. We shall start Leo's on Wednesday then. And we will go from there. But yes, as ever, thank you very much for running through it with me.
No worries.
I think when we get to near the end of Leo's and Jenna's, we'll look at... I mean, did you see there's is there a prequel to this actually out, or is the prequel still being worked on?
Yeah, the prequel's out. I think it's called Route 65. There's also a Dastra, which is apparently just as good and about 1,400 times as horny. That one, it's another furry gay visual novel dating sim, but this time you don't like pick a route. You just kind of have one guy that you do the flirts with. But it's more of like a political thriller, but it is like a lot more explicit. Like it has artwork.
Right.
This one actually has the horny artwork in it with the dog dick. So
I don't know if we could. I don't know if we could do that one on a stream then, but we'll definitely do the. We'll definitely finish
I know
Echo.
some people have. It's definitely not as bad as it could be. Again, it plays around with the expectations of the genre and go like, star-crossed lovers, man gets whisked away into space by sexy wolf himbo, and then oh no, also kind of happens. Again, it's the thing that was made directly after TJ's route was finished, and you can kind of tell. But it's a very different kind of slow political drama. It's more Game of Thronesy even.
Okay.
But without the different houses, it's just kind of different people vying for a throne, birthrights, successions, being trapped, weird, horrible space gods that may or may not be benevolent. It's interesting. It's what Star Trek in Echo is based on. That's what. I love that reference.
Well, as I said, when we run out, when we get to the end of probably actually when we end Leo's run, when we've still got Jenna's to do, we'll look at what we're doing after it, and then when we finish Jenna, we'll decide if we're doing. We'll probably do the prequel, and then might do a Dastra after that then. But we'll always look at it. We'll see how long it takes us.
Arches is apparently about the coyote and the bear.
Yes, I remember seeing there was one about them.
There's also one called the Smoke Room, which is making me very anxious. This one's called A Role to Play, and I think that's a D&D based one. And then this one is Glory Hounds, which looks very superhero at a glance.
All right. Well, we will.
There we go.
We will look at all of them when we get closer. But yeah, we will definitely do Leo's route next and see how we get on. So we will be back on Wednesday with more of this. And hopefully then we'll see how far we get through Leo's run, at least the first run. First run of it. Apart from that, our next streams will be tomorrow night. Should be me, Tom, Meow, and Zeph playing some Deep Rock. Then after I'll do some indie horror. Wednesday should be more Echo. Thursday should be more indie horror. Friday should be. I forgot what we're playing on Friday because I forgot. I'll ask Tom and Zeph tomorrow. We're playing something on Friday, and then afterwards will be Sons of the Forest with hopefully AJ and Cassie. And then Sunday will be Dark Tide. I'm hoping there'll be some Halloween things booked soon because I am looking forward to running them. But we are just waiting for some folk to sign up for that. So we'll wind up there. So we will go raid out to someone. Let's see, who do we know that's on? Let's see.
Oh, she's not a fennec fox. She's a kit fox. Sorry. I was Googling.
Oh, I just realised Crim's on, and Crim's doing horror games this week, so we're going to raid into Crim. Because Crim is an awesome dude. Let's find... I can do this now. And put in our thing, so we don't have to even go into the Twitch. I can just do it from my OBS now. When the cat's not standing in the way. Hello. So yeah, we're going to raid into Crim. So yes, thank you everyone. We'll catch you tomorrow for Deep Rockin' Things. Until then, you all take care. Have a great rest of your week. See you all later. Good night.
Have a good one.